In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. George Orwell. Yeah. This is Blood Politics. The only podcast where we don't talk about politics. We be about politics. And our mission statement is to empower, educate, and encourage everyone to speak out against fascism. Speak out against injustice and fight for freedom and equality for everyone. This is Blood Politics, and we ain't stopping till they put us in the grave. We ain't gonna be quiet, and we ain't gonna be scared, and we ain't gonna go along with the crowd. This is Blood Politics.
Can everybody hear?
Because ain't nobody else gonna do it.
Popping. You know, like we always do about this time. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the show. Hopefully nobody's having to drive to get to watch this show anywhere. If you are driving, then you are definitely feeling the crunch. You are definitely feeling the pinch at the pump. What's going on, chat? How's everybody doing? Thank you guys for joining me once again. It is March 31st, 2026. You guys have made it, and I thank you here for being here. I appreciate you guys. What's going on? What's up, Tiff? What's up, WW? What's up, Petrazi? What's up, Gamer? Lots to talk about today. I got about 1.5 billion clips pulled up. I got about 1.5 billion things to talk about. Before we dive into it, a few show notes, a few little housekeeping notes to talk about. What do you say we dive into the saying hi to the chat part of the episode that we always like so much? What's going on, guys? How are you? I love your screen time there. What's going on, Vasantha? How are you? What's up, W Dubs? What's up, Mark? What's up, brother? What's up, Tina? I see you over there on Twitch. What's going on? Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Substack. Hopefully Substack. I think I did everything right this time. So hopefully we're live on Substack too. What's going on, Sabrina? How are you? What's up, Salt of the Red Earth? What's going on, my friend? What's going on, Corrine? Hi, Karen. What's up, Oliver? What's going on, Rob and Marty? Look at the whole crew's here today. What's up, Tom? Good to see you, brother. Please pass on the hellos to everybody in the Hamble household. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. What's up, Laura? What's up, Alyosha? What's up, Rox? The whole crew's here today. I love it. The whole crew's here. All right, make sure you guys are hitting that like button so everybody knows that you're here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel in case you're not subscribed already. That helps a lot, too. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by the time we start kicking the GOP's ass in midterms, and it's only with your help that we're going to get there. So thank you guys for taking the time out of your day, spending a little bit of it here with me. It goes a long way. I am really appreciative of everything that you guys do for the show, whether it be, you know, the buck or two that I ask. If you guys have a Venmo, if you could kick in that way, which is the easiest and most direct way to contribute to the show, or if you sign up for a YouTube membership, which is way less than a gallon of gas right now, as we'll talk about, or you can head over to the Patreon at patreon.com/BostonBrian. All things are getting revamped. All things are getting reworked. Going into some of the housekeeping notes, if I do, you know, set up a little segue, I do want to make sure, I know it's in front of me, but I do want to make sure that everybody knows that the Ukraine merch that's going up on there, that 25% of all sale profit going from those or coming from those sales will be going right to United 24, as we've always been doing. So that's something that we are going to continue to do. So again, I just want to make sure that everybody knows we're going to be doing, like I said, discounts and kind of, different perks that the people signed up at Patreon will get. You know, we try to do things the right way here, independently, no outside resources, no outside help. So again, with your support, it's kind of the only way that we can keep this thing running. So I do appreciate you guys. And also with the Patreon, adding a few more other things as well. We're going to be doing some more Zooms, to try to, get people a little bit more as far as perks. So the VIP members will have a chance to do 4 in a month. You can see here on the screen. So like, this is just kind of like an example. We're going to be doing them on Mondays. This is April, just like I said, as an example. So all members will be doing it on the 6th, and then the 13th will be for the VIP. The 20th will be for, the better and the VIP category, and then the VIP again on the 27th. So you'll get 4 opportunities if you're in the VIP category, and obviously 2 in the middle category, 1 in the let's fucking go category. So again, just kind of different things we're trying to add over there on the Patreon to make it worth your while. I know, like I said, right hand up, I try to be as honest and as kind of truthful as possible, where a lot of these channels, they offer content behind the scenes, or they'll offer like a lot of these different perks that you have to pay for in order to see like substantial important pieces of their show. I don't fuck around with that type of shit. Okay, so I know it takes a lot out of the ammunition belt. It takes a lot out of the old belt that I have in order to kind of like entice people to sign up and to to be a part of the show. But again, it's kind of a trade-off that I'm willing to make, as far as not having people telling me what I can talk about, what I can't talk about, how I can talk about something. So again, that's kind of the trade-off that we're trying to make here. So just to kind of a few housekeeping notes there. We're also going to be having Jake Bro on the show tomorrow night, the 8:30 show. Very excited to get to talk to Jake again. Jake just getting off of another $1 million plus campaign. We raised over 23,000 euro here for a truck to send over to the 72nd. He raised over $1 million in about, I want to say, a week, a little over a week. It was absolutely mind-blowing. So excited to get to be able to chat about that. Obviously, the ongoing actions taking place inside of Ukraine, Ukraine's ability to continue to hit the Russian ports. We'll be discussing it all. So again, if you're not subscribed to Jake's channel, I'm sure you probably are. He's got well over 1 million at this point. I don't know what the exact number is, but I know he's got a ton of subscribers over there, and well deserved. So excited to talk to him tomorrow night. What else we'll be talking about today? Boy, do we have a lot to get into. Holy crap. I don't understand how it happens. It's just the news just continues to stack up. The things that we have to continue to dive into continue to stack up every second, every minute of every day. So obviously we're going to be talking about the gas prices, going above $4 on average for the United States, what that means for you, in your daily life. Obviously, different goods now are going to be, are creeping up in price as well. Not only that, but air travel, due to the rise in price of jet fuel. So anybody that has to, drive for work, or anybody that has to fly for work, this is now going to be impacting you, fucking dramatically over the next, God knows how long. So, get ready for it. We're obviously going to be talking about how Iran has only been made to look more powerful on the world stage by these undertakings. Like we've now had to recognize their control over the Strait of Hormuz. We've now kind of had to recognize, even with Donald Trump's statements, like them coming to the negotiating table. Again, whoever the hell he's negotiating with, if he's negotiating with anybody. Again, we still seem to think here he's negotiating with himself and losing that battle. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about Trump's ridiculous Air Force One interview, press gaggle, conference, whatever the fuck you want to call it, where he's basically telling everybody he's built a World War III bunker underneath this ridiculous ballroom that's got bulletproof glass and drone-proof ceilings. And what's this guy expecting? You know what I mean? Not only that, but the ridiculousness of bringing this subject up at a time where, we have such huge problems on the world stage, again, created by us, that we're dealing with huge ramifications and dangers posed to, different allied nations, the world economy, the people of the United States. And this guy's talking about the fucking ballroom, again, that we all looked at when we were like, the people that were investing in this ballroom are awfully fucking connected with either defense contractors or, just anybody that's, willing to fund war in general. So there was obviously that background noise going on every second that this fucking ballroom was being built. Now we're learning more about what Donald Trump's having, put underneath the ballroom. So we'll be taking a look at that as well. We got Lady Lindsay. Lady Lindsay at Disney, while war rages on, while he talks about world domination, while he sends our men and, our sons and daughters and, the men and women of the armed forces into harm's way. He's walking around with a purple fucking, I don't even know what you call it, scepter, wand, I guess, at Disney. So we'll take a look at a couple of the pictures and a couple of the clips of Lady Lindsay at Disney. The bullet. This is a story that's going to make the right wing freak out as well. I mean, if the right wing wasn't already in a tizzy, this is going to make them fucking jump out of their seats, because apparently the defense in the Charlie Kirk assassination case has now put up their defense and is basically stating that the ATF was unable to match the bullet to the rifle, which again seems to be a pretty big sticking point. I know there's some experts out there saying that it's not like totally out of the ordinary, but again, doesn't bode well for the case. Doesn't really, especially when you were supposed to have found the rifle intact and everything happened so quickly. It wasn't like the bullet sat around in the weather, or the gun sat around in the weather, or was none of that seemingly comes into play. But still, and again, this was just the defense put forward there. So we'll be looking at, I think Tim Pool kind of has to describe this to his fans. So we got videos from Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, James O'Brien from LBC again, Greg Kelly. We got the largest 4-week rise in gas prices since 1991. Israel pushes deeper into Lebanon. We got a ton to talk about today. We're not going to have enough time, unfortunately. I saw it in the chat. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll have enough time to get into Kristi Noem's cross-dressing husband. We might have to leave that off the schedule today. And then again, if we have enough time, we'll be diving into a few updates from the Ukrainian front lines and a little bit of kind of the ongoing success that Ukraine has had in striking the ports, and again, mitigating the benefits that Russia has been seeing in the rise of oil prices. And again, the ease off of sanctions in their ability to sell that oil. So again, hit that like button. I do appreciate you guys. A lot to get into. I know there's a ton that we just kind of had to describe there, but I appreciate you for kind of sticking with me through it all. What do you say we dive into this first clip? And again, you guys, I really hope that nobody's driving while watching this show, because again, you're just watching the dollars fly out of your wallet by the second. And let me see if I can throw this on the screen, which is this one. Put it up there. Away we go here on the show. And again, this is just a quick clip from CNN. U.S. gas prices hit $4 a gallon, now higher than any point under Donald Trump, just to kind of drill home the secondary impacts that, again, we told you and everybody has been telling you that we're going to get worse before it got better. And again, this is just one of the aspects. I think we're now seeing, oil prices up at about $120 a barrel. WTI is up over 104. So again, the impacts of this, and as much as Donald Trump loves to come out and tries to come out and Truth Social his way out of this mess, every Monday morning, seemingly coming out with the new fucking statement on Truth Social, you're making it seem like he's negotiating with even more people and things are going great and they're sending us oil. So that way the market has a positive reaction, or at least what he thinks or hopes would be a positive reaction. But again, this is a quick CNN clip just kind of detailing, the rise in gas prices and where it stands as far as, gas prices at any point during Donald Trump's second or first term here. So let's dive into this real quick. Again, hit that like button. I'm Boston Brian. I appreciate all the mods and I appreciate the best chat on the fucking planet right here for keeping this show going. Let's get to 20K, guys. Let's get to 20K. Share it out. Subscribe if you're not. Hit that like button at the very least. I appreciate you guys. All right, let's dive into it.
The national average for a gallon of gas is higher than $4. This is the highest in nearly 4 years, higher than any point during the president's 2 terms. West Texas crude oil prices, the U.S. benchmark, they settle at their highest point in 4 years, and you can see they're actually up from what they closed at last
and again,
night.
Even you can see the change in prices and how quickly it changes, right? Let me just throw this on the screen because it mutes me every fucking time I go on the screen now. So I'm just going to do a refresh real quick. So we're at 1019. It actually went down a little bit. So you can see the fluctuations here and how crazy the market is and how chaotic this whole thing is. Brent hovering right at 118, 119 there. But again, even when this was, I think this was only put out like an hour ago by CNN. So you can see the impacts and the chaos and the fluctuations that we're seeing in prices and the instability, which is again not good for markets, not good for you or I as far as being able to plan. It's getting ridiculous. It really is. So again, just to kind of go on with what we're seeing here,
which I said was pretty high already. Let's get a CNN senior reporter, Matt Egan, who is here with us. And this $4 a gallon, I mean, this is a benchmark, a pretty big psychological barrier.
Yeah, and I mean, especially for the guy, and again, this would be detrimental to any presidency, right? This would be crazy. This large of a rise this quickly caused by us because of a war that we started would be hugely detrimental to any president. But the president that came in saying that he was going to have your energy costs, right? Saying that he was going to come in and make everything, exponentially cheaper. He was going to end all the wars. Considering what we're seeing now, like, it just makes it that much more ridiculous. It just makes it that much more like fucking, like he was spitting in everybody's face as far as these, these ridiculous promises and everybody that was believing them and everybody that listened to them, like enough to go and vote for this guy a second time after every fucking thing that we went through in the first term. Like, this is how crazy this is. Again, this isn't even like a normal, like, times where you could just blame the guy for fucking starting a war and all of a sudden this is the secondary impacts. Like, this is the guy that said he was going to come in and cut energy prices in half, right? Grocery prices, fucking gas prices, anything that you can think of was going to go down if you voted for him. And look at what we're seeing now. The no new wars. We continue to hear this and drill it home, but that's how ridiculous and insane this moment is, right? Considering what we've seen, all the actions from our military, the prices of what you're paying now, the cost of flights, the cost of diesel, the cost of gas. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely fucking insane what we're seeing right now. And again, the people that got us into this position should be absolutely ashamed of them fucking selves and should walk around in fucking disgust with themselves for the rest of time. Like, it's just, there's no other way. There's no rhyme or reason, that you can explain your way out of a situation like this. It's fucking absolutely insane. And again, I think it goes on for a second here.
Huge psychological barrier, and one, John, that was unthinkable when the year started, right? $4 a gallon gas in March, but here we are. So the new national average, 402, that is well above the 298 a gallon before the war started, significantly higher than 317 at this point last year.
298 before the war. So again, we got more destabilization in the region, right? We got a more hard-lined Iranian regime. We got a fucking younger Ayatollah in there who's going to be in there for many more years beyond what his father would have been in there for, considering the age discrepancy, right? A guy that has closer connections with the IRGC, a guy that we just killed his wife, his kids, his fucking, half of his family. Like, now we have people that are like in this state right now of fucking fury against the United States. Right. And we got the Strait of Hormuz closed. We got gas prices fucking flying up by the second. Like, all of this, like, we were not there at the beginning of this. Like, we were in negotiations. We had 298 gas with the last Ayatollah. And somehow, with like the Republicans and Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth are trying to equate this as to like a victory. Like, you think we're that fucking stupid? Like, there is no metric right now that you can fucking feed to us that would allow us to believe that in any way, shape, or form a victory has been obtained. And again, like I said in the beginning, the only thing that's been proven is the fact that Iran has now much more power seemingly on the world stage than they did prior to this, right? People have much more respect in their military capabilities, even with the amount of strikes and the amount of targets that have been hit. People have much more fucking respect in their ability to control the Strait of Hormuz, their ability to control their different proxies and the other geographical straits that they could fucking, take control of in order to, put pressure on the world economy, put pressure on global trading. Like, this is only now, again, Donald Trump having to ask them to come to the negotiating table time and time again, having to give them more time. Like, lying about like who he's negotiating with, but not telling anybody because he's afraid Israel's going to kill them. Like, everything is drastically worse than it was just before Israel, Donald Trump, Jared Kushner started this war in order to keep Benjamin Netanyahu out of his corruption trials inside of his own fucking country and to make sure that he didn't have to face accountability for his international, warrants that he had out for being a war criminal. And so that Donald Trump didn't have to face the headlines, or anybody didn't have to look at the headlines, associating him with the Donald Trump files that have a rare mention of fucking Jeffrey Epstein every now and again. So again, this is the price that we're paying now in order for these fucking maniacal, genocidal freaks to have their way, to get their wish, to make sure that they don't face justice and accountability. That's what this is all about. And that's why we've now seen the instability, the death, the war crimes. We continue to hit schools, hospitals, the whole nine yards. Like you said, Israel now expanding into Lebanon. We have a couple videos here that I wanted to show you because I brought it up in the last few shows about the Israeli settlers and their actions, in the West Bank, and kind of how they've been reacting, and the IDF soldiers and how they're treating, different journalists and reporters in the area, just trying to get a story. So we got a couple quick clips coming up from that as well. But just to detail the rise in gas prices, and again, the instability, the chaos, It's just, you guys have seen it, obviously. And I feel bad for anybody, again, that has to drive long distance for work or long distance for your kids or for your parents. I feel bad that, for people that have to fly for a living. And again, maybe you're not kind of, reimbursed for it by your work and it's all on you. Because again, go take a look at some of those fucking flights. The prices are creeping up steadily again with the rise in price of jet fuel. Again, those companies aren't going to eat those prices. That gets filtered down to you and me every single fucking time, regardless of what category it's in, regardless of what you're buying, whether it's jet fuel, whether it's food, whether it's cars, whether it's fucking clothing. Doesn't matter what it is, whether it's pots and pans for your house. Those companies aren't eating those extra costs. You and I are eating those extra costs. And that's exactly the secondary impacts that was, every expert was warning this administration about before they went in and did all of this fucking nonsense, before they went in and started killing people, before they went in and started sending troops in there that are now looking like they're going to put boots on the ground in Iran. But I digress. All right, let's jump on to here because, all that we've been just talking about is kind of showing its face here in the numbers. CNN, this is another one by Harry Enton, just kind of going through some of the numbers and polling from this war and how, again, detrimental it is not only to the Trump regime, but also the GOP heading into midterm elections. This is, again, a train that is rapidly running out of tracks, and their only wish, their only way, their only plan is to kind of cheat behind the scenes, whether it's with Tulsi Gabbard, whether it's with what's going on in Fulton County, what's going on in Colorado, the quid pro quos they were given to different states behind the scenes to kind of hand over their voter rolls, the different ways that they're taking people off of the voter rolls, the gerrymandering going on behind the scenes, the whole 9 yards. That's kind of like increasingly becoming their only option, which is why we have to continue to look at it. But this is, just what you guys all know, what everybody knows here is that this is very, very unpopular and is getting increasingly more unpopular by the second with not only the American people, but with the people of the world writ large. And again, here's just a few of the numbers here run by Harry Enton to kind of prove that case here. And again, this is just real quick, only about 30 seconds or a minute of this, just to kind of, again, drive home how unpopular this is.
Hey there, I'm Harry Enton, and today we're not just running the numbers on the war in Iran, we are running all the numbers on the war in Iran, and you won't see this on television. Let's start off by talking about two key terms that basically before this war began, nobody was really talking about, and you might not have even heard of them. We're talking about Karg Island and the Strait of Hormuz, of course, very much having to do with oil that is exported by Iran, and you can see her Google searches in March up like a rocket. I mean, my goodness gracious, record highs reached for Karg Island. Look at this. Google searches up.
That's wild. 20,000%, going up as far as Google searches for Karg. Like, that's fucking absolutely insane. You can tell, people are interested, are taking interest in the story, are kind of wondering what the fuck's going on, why the gas prices are as high as they are, why there's so much instability. Again, you have to recognize not a lot of people, not everybody, I should say, is as politically involved as you or I is diving through all of this stuff day after day after day, like I give you guys credit for doing every single day. That's why, almost every show I try to, show my appreciation and show my respect for you guys in the way that you follow these different shows and the way that you support these different shows every single day, and you fight through the bullshit, and you put up with the, the anxiety and the worry and, everything else that goes along with it. And, you guys deserve a round of applause. You guys definitely deserve a pat on the back for doing so. So, I try to make sure to do that. But, to see that 20,000% increase in the amount of people kind of searching for, Karg Island, what it means, what kind of the ramifications could be, just shows you how many people are now starting to look at this because they're being affected in their wallets, right? We continue to talk about how, like the MAGA people, we've showed multiple videos over the last couple of weeks of, different MAGA folks all over the country kind of coming and seeing the light as far as whether it's, their jobs at risk. We saw the lady at the gas station there, and it's like, seemingly when it comes to their house, when it's their wallet being affected or when it's their job or career being affected, that's when it starts to kind of, ring the dinner bell in their heads and kind of brings them to the realization that they were being lied to, and kind of everything that we were saying is as far as, telling you what to watch out for was correct. But again, this is just another aspect to show you, but there's a few other one here. Let's see here. I'm going to jump on to this one. Here's the gas prices and the increase here.
Now, the largest 4-week gas price increase since at least 1991. You have to go all the way back since the Bills played in their first Super Bowl to find increases this high. We're talking about up 33% just over the last 4 weeks. My goodness gracious. In fact, I went back through the record books. We're talking about an increase of $1 over just a 4-week period for the first time ever. The first time ever. That is why the Strait of Hormuz and Kharg Island are so important, because essentially what has
And
gone
again,
on—
I'm not sure that this is what Donald Trump meant by like celebrating the 250th, getting us to the record mark of the first time ever of having the gas jump $1 in 4 weeks. But again, that's exactly the position that he's gotten us into. As much as he continues to try to lie about it, as much as he continues to try to say everything is okay, he brings up the stock market, and we've heard, what was it referenced about 1 billion times as far as what was it in the Epstein? Who the hell was? I can't even think of her name now. Was it Christy Nome bringing it up as far as, no, it was Pam Bondi, excuse me, Pam Bondi bringing it up. Remember when she's bringing up that the stock market was up around 50,000. So what the hell are we focused on the Epstein files for? Well, again, here's a little bit on that as well.
Not all that's been going on. Take a look here. This, I think, really sort of gives the game away. Look at this. Economic measures since the Iran war began. Well,
since the Iran war began, the Dow Jones entered a correction. So it's been down 8%, or it is down 8%. Meanwhile, gas prices are up 33%. Okay. So again, talking about their sticking points, their talking points, and what they used to fall back on, no longer having that to cushion their fall, no longer having that to fall back on, as far as the press secretary, as far as the rest of these sycophants in this administration, as far as Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, the rest of these idiots that love to go straight to the stock market. That's kind of slipping from their grasp, or has slipped from their grasp rather quickly as far as that's concerned. But there's not a number that he pulls up in this entire friggin' video that bodes well for the Trump administration or for the GOP. This is for U.S. troops on the ground. Only 12%. I don't know who the hell those 12% are, but only 12% as far as this poll is concerned support it. 62% oppose it. The numbers go on. This is war net approval rating rating a month in. Iraq war to April 2003 was plus 56. Donald Trump now is minus 28%. Okay, so you can see the discrepancies. We've brought this up before as far as the popularity, or at least the approval or support of the war in the first, in the first weeks, and then it goes down drastically as far as that's concerned when the spending goes up, when the death toll increases. But look at Trump here, and again, Harry Anton's arms in the way. My apologies, but you can see the minus 28 points in comparison to George Bush's plus 56 points there. Right. So again, this is just kind of giving you something to compare it to, as unpopular as the Iraq war was, as we remember it to be. This is 1,000 times more fucking unpopular than even that was, to show you. And again, we're only 4 weeks in now at this point, 30 days in at this point. I know that's all they said it was going to be, but who actually believes that at the same time as they're sending forces in that look like they're going to be putting boots on the ground? But again, just lies after lies after lies. And while we have this going on, right, we have this reaction from the American people going on right now. We have a war taking place. We have gas prices on a rise that is absolutely going to have an effect on so many people in this country, right? We have, death and destruction going on in the Middle East. And what's Donald Trump talking about is his goddamn fucking ballroom. Right? He's bringing up how safe he's going to be under and through bulletproof glass and underneath fucking, drone-proof ceilings, and how the military was building a substantial complex underneath the ballroom, like everybody else thought and suggested and expected was going to happen. I have a suspicion that the price tag on the ballroom is nowhere near or even fucking including what the military is doing underneath. I don't see that $200 million is going to include the ballroom and this substantial military bunker, this substantial fucking military complex underneath it. So again, I think we're being lied to in that regard as well, or at least we're not being told something. I wonder who's kind of, piggy bank they're dipping into for that. They have a substantial enough fucking military budget. So, one would think that they're diving into that, but I wouldn't put it past them for dipping into kind of taxpayer funds in order to get it done. But this is Donald Trump on Air Force One. And again, we don't have to take too much time to watch this, but I do want to kind of drill home the insanity of what's taking place right now. We played the other day on the show, him on with Dana Perino. I had a clip that actually went around. If you didn't check that out, check out the short that went around of that clip on the show where Dana Perino was asking him kind of about the plight of the Iranian people. Do they have food? Do they have water? What's the situation? And Donald Trump went straight to, hey, remember when I met you when you were fucking 11 years old at Trump Tower? Like, you look even better now. Like, it's just the whole thing was creepy and gross and despicable old man, straight to sexual harassment. Didn't even think twice, doesn't give a flying fuck about the plight of the Iranian people, about the danger posed to the U.S. servicemen and women in the region right now, what it means by actually putting boots on the ground and how much that escalates the entire situation, the fucking the effects that you and I are now feeling as far as, price increases, energy costs, gas prices. Again, God forbid you're a fucking trucker and you got to pay for diesel somewhere out west in the West Coast. I mean, I don't even know how people could get it done if you're a fisherman going out there and paying for fucking fuel cost. I mean, again, you're running people out of their careers. You're running people right into the ground by doing this. And it doesn't take a long time for it to stay like this in order to start seeing those effects and impacts, again, on the lower class and the people that are going to get affected by this the most. But this is Donald Trump here being just the most insane fucking person on earth, talking about, just lying about the Iran war, I should say, for about 2 minutes. And then he feels like he had enough of that, feels like he's given enough information, and goes straight into holding up poster boards and kind of fucking, renderings of what the ballroom is going to look like, all while telling the American people that it's going to be basically, protected him from anything resulting from World War III that he's going to kick off. Meanwhile, everybody else is going to have to fucking fend for themselves, right? I mean, this is just everything that we knew was going to come from this, again, with the Palantirs and with the different fucking military contractors and defense contractors that were involved in this. You knew something else was happening, right? There was no way that this was just like, okay, a little nicety and let's kick over 20, 30, 40, fucking $50 million in order for you to have your golden ballroom for 2 years. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Obviously, there was something else. So I don't know. This guy seems to be building himself a fucking forever home, putting his name on everything. This guy's fucking turning the White House into the Gold House, for Christ's sakes, building himself the ballroom, now the bunker underneath it. I mean, it doesn't seem like this guy's ready to go anywhere. I don't think Donald Trump's going to build all this shit, do all this shit just to kind of give it to the next person. That's not the type of guy that Donald Trump is. So again, all of this nonsense, all of this put my name on different shit, all of this, put my fucking signature on the dollar bill and trying to create some sort of legacy that's not there. It's either so, he can make sure that everybody is forced to have to burn shit, demolish shit, which is exactly what I think we're going to do, which is exactly what needs to be done and should be done. The second somebody else gets into office, we're going to burn the fucking dollar bills with a signature on it. We should fucking demolish and knock down every fucking building that has his name associated with it. Every monument that's fucking built to him should be burnt, should be shredded, should be torched, should be run over. We should get the pizza guy, the pizza delivery guy from Home Alone, and just send him around to all the fucking Trump statues and have him knock every single one of them sons of bitches over. But every goddamn thing that guy's name has been touched, has been put on, has fucking graced as far as he's concerned, should be burnt to the ground. Every single fucking bit of it. That's exactly what should happen. But here he is on Air Force One. And again, this is just, an example of the craziness, an example of the insanity and kind of the leaders that are getting us into these positions right now, and how you should have absolutely no hope whatsoever that they're all of a sudden going to come to their senses and get us out of this. Because listen to not only the lies that you're being told, right? Still won't fucking tell you who he's negotiating with, right? Can't acknowledge that, but will lie to you about the 20 oil ships, the 20 ships bursting with oil that we've been supposedly sent. Meanwhile, it just shows the control that the Iranians have, right? Just shows that the Iranians, if they want, if this is actually what's going on, have the ability to say, okay, well, if you want something, we have the ability to say yes or no to whatever ships go through that strait still. Thus showing the power that we have, thus showing the power that the United States has basically exposed to the world right now. you know, the chokehold that they have there, even with the military capabilities and all the fucking targets that have been hit by the U.S. military, still not really seeing that push as far as like an edge towards victory, an edge towards, you know, the strait being opened, an edge towards capitulation by the Iranian regime, an edge towards the Iranian people rising up against their government, like all the things that they were kind of calling for and thought were going to happen. None of that happened, and all the things that they should have seen coming that did happen, they didn't expect. So again, everything back asswards as far as this is concerned. But let's just dive into, I think it's about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes or something like that. We don't really have to dive into too much of this, but it's just absolutely insanity. Every single time that this guy brings up something that isn't regarding the war, isn't regarding like, the plight and the danger right now posed on the fucking world stage, is just another moment where, you know, you can recognize the absolute insanity of the moment. Sorry to be repetitive on that one, but I think the word insanity and insane comes to mind, comes to a lot of people's minds as far as what's taking place now. But check this bullshit out.
Mr. President. So we've had very good negotiations today with Iran, getting a lot of the things that they should have given us a long time ago. We'll see how it works out, but they're very good. Moving along very nicely.
And he's on the plane, so the audio's not really that good. I'll keep the captions on in case you need to hear what questions are being asked or what he's saying if you can't hear him there.
And they've destroyed a lot of additional targets today. The Navy's gone, the Air Force has gone, we know that. But we destroyed many targets today. It was a big day. And we are negotiating with them directly and indirectly.
We are negotiating with them directly and indirectly. We don't know who they are. We can't tell you who they are. It's not the first regime. It's not the second regime. It's kind of like a third team somewhere. But just believe us. Trust me, bro, that they exist. Right. And I'm going to make up this bullshit about, you know, different ships being sent in there for different reasons, even though, you know, the reporting says that they were flagged by other countries and allowed, you know, basically showing the control again that Iran has on the Strait of Hormuz by either saying yes or saying no to the ship's ability to cross the strait. But again, he doesn't recognize that's kind of what he's portraying on the world stage. So this is just, again, I don't know, I'm running out of words to describe kind of the maniacal, genocidal lack of care for humans, lack of care for, you know, the danger posed to you and I, the lack of care for the rise in prices, and then all of a sudden being like, okay, you know, I'm gonna lie about this, but let's talk about my ballroom. Like, how do you get that across to people? Like, how do you explain that as far as that's the president of the United States right now? You know what I mean? It's wild timeline we're in right now. Wild fucking timeline.
We also are dealing directly, and as you know, they've agreed to send 8 boats 2 days ago, and then they added another 2, so it was 10 boats. And now today they gave us as a tribute, I don't know.
A tribute, a fucking tribute, a tribute to all the Iranians that we've taken out, a tribute to all of the, all of the Iranian children that we've murdered. Apparently, that's what he's trying. He doesn't know what to call it exactly, but it could be a tribute, could be a gift, could be a present. Can't tell you who it's from, but it's definitely from real people. But it's not the leadership or the secondary leadership. Might be like a third team that's in there. It's definitely like the C team, possibly, but it's also possibly nobody. And I could possibly be negotiating with myself and still losing that negotiation. That's probably the most likely thing that's taking place right now.
And exactly what they gave us, I think, out of a sign of respect, 20 votes.
Sign of respect. I mean, because everybody always respects, anybody that's dropping bombs on their homeland and killing their civilians. It's like, of course, it always, what follows that is typically a show of respect, right? Is typically a gift and a present from that country that you're bombing, right? From that one that you're still continuously attacking. Again, the ridiculousness of this is again, shouldn't be lost upon you, because it's absolutely insane. Again, I'm gonna have to go through to the books here to see if I can come up with some different terms to kind of describe this. But I don't know. It's nuts.
So going through the
again, like I said, we don't have to dive into too much of this. But he goes on for about 2 minutes, a little over 2 minutes, and then he decides to hop right into this. Check this shit out.
I did something today.
He did something today.
We just got these in from the architects. A lot of people are talking about how beautiful the ballroom is for.
And mind you, we're at war. The instability in the Middle East has not been seen like this in quite some time. Gas prices, oil prices, everything prices on the rise, right? We're again denigrating and demeaning allies all over the joint as far as Donald Trump's statements on Truth Social. And this is what this guy's talking about. This is what this decrepit old man's talking about, is the ballroom. And he's going to brag about how bulletproof the windows are and how fucking drone-proof the ceilings are. Like, what are you expecting? Huh? Do you know something that we don't as far as what's going to be taking place sometime soon? Because you seem to be talking about, like a pretty specific, action that you're going to be, defending against.
Years, they've wanted to build a ballroom.
No, nobody did. Just wasn't a thing. Nobody cared. Nobody wants it. It's going to be fucking torn down. Hopefully the second you croak.
At the White House. Other presidents have wanted it.
Nope, they didn't.
Dignitaries coming like President Xi of China or anybody else.
Yep, and they were perfectly fucking happy at the places that they were going to begin with. They found it pretty nice. They recognized the history of the place, and I don't believe that anybody was calling for a $200, $300, $400 million ballroom on top of a World War III bunker that had fucking bulletproof glass and drone-proof ceilings at a time where we're $38 trillion in debt, $39 trillion in debt. Shit, it goes up by the day. Fuck it. Try to keep track of that one. We're also talking about wars all over the joint. We're also talking about like regime change. We're, exorbitant prices all over the place. So no, nobody gives a flying fuck about this besides you maniacal fucking bastard.
We have very small rooms. They're not big enough to handle the kind of capacity that you need. And this is the same height as the White House. It's an incredible fitting. You see what that is, right? Nice.
It's an incredible fitting? Like, what the fuck does that even mean?
I'll show you.
Oh, here's another one. Here's the other view. Gotta get the second view.
Coming from right opposite the Treasury building. Beautiful Capitol. Beautiful building.
That's not the Capitol. Did he just call that the beautiful Capitol? That's not the Capitol. That's the ballroom. The Capitol is else. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I think it'll be the finest ballroom of its kind anywhere in the world. A lot of people are giving it really good reviews. Some are giving it reviews without even seeing the building, because this just came out today. These pictures were just made today. We got rid of, quite a while ago, the stairs on the south side, and it's become really beautiful. But it matches and fits the White House.
And again, this is what this fucking guy's talking about, right? As the world is like up in arms right now, is in fucking disgust, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with the United States regime, like what the plan is, how to get out of this, how long it's going to go on, right? What the escalations are going to come. Where the United States is going to attack next. As everybody's talking about that and trying to get answers about the instability, this guy's holding up fucking renderings of a ballroom that he thinks anybody gives a shit about, talking about how much it cost and talking about the military complex underneath. Like, gee, I wonder what's going on in there, huh? Like, how many servers they got? What are they listening to? I'm sure, like, I'm sure it's not above board considering the people that were willing to shill out millions for this ballroom. Of course, they're probably stealing our data. They're probably listening to the phone call. Who knows at this point? I wouldn't put anything past these people. But just to show you, again, the ridiculousness of the timeline that we're in right now. Not only was there Donald Trump on Air Force One, but let me see if I can find this one as well. This is probably a good time just to kind of highlight the ridiculousness of the timeline that we're in right now. The song that we played, the video that we played the other day on the show from the Iranian side on the kind of the one-to-one propaganda battle that we have going between the White House and the Iranians. Again, the Iranians have kind of moved that bar up several notches as far as we were concerned. Well, they're back at it. They're back at it here. Again, just to show you the insanity of the timeline, here's another release, a Lego video troll of Trump. We don't have to play the whole thing, just the first couple seconds of this. But again, this is the insanity of the timeline that we live in. This is how like we're living in a simulation at this point.
Sir, Iranians have released a new Lego-style animation.
I mean, it gets crazier by the day. It really does. If you tried to explain this to somebody, that was alive, 70 years ago, 80 years ago, and be like, hey, this is where we're going to be in 2026. This is what the governments are going to be putting out as far as propaganda. This is what they're going to be saying. This is what they're going to be undertaking. This is what stuff's going to cost. They would have fucking lost their minds. But again, we played on the show the other day. Was it yesterday? No, it was Sunday on the show. The last video that the Iranians came out with, and it was kind of a banger. I hate to admit it, puts me in an awkward spot, I got to say, but they're again leveling up the game as far as the propaganda is concerned, and again that is in kind of retaliation to the White House's bowling pins, Call of Duty type, using the strike footage of what they've undertaken to kind of do the same thing. So again, it's kind of an eye for an eye, if you ask me in that regard. But I do think that Iran is up 1 to the Donald Trump's 0 in that category, in the old propaganda category. But again, it's not stopping Donald Trump from kind of openly talking about committing war crimes on behalf of the United States and with the use of the United States military. This is something that obviously people were talking about and kind of up in arms about as well. This is Donald Trump putting on Truth Social, basically that he was going to start attacking not only the generating plants, the oil wells on Carg Island, but also and possibly desalination plants. Again, we've talked about the danger of not having potable water, not having clean drinking water in the Middle East. And if you thought kind of bombs and bullets were creating chaos and were kind of responsible for ever-growing death tolls, just wait until you see what happens if, again, food and water starts to be cut out of the picture. We've also talked about how war crimes, going after different energy facilities that are basically focused on the civilian infrastructure and civilians' use of that. But this is Donald Trump just putting it in black and white, putting it in writing once again that the United States is open to committing war crimes if, in fact, the Iranian regime doesn't come to the table reasonably and open the Strait of Hormuz, again, showing the power, showing the control that Iran still has, not only on the Strait of Hormuz, but in this kind of conflict in general. It says open for business. And it says we will conclude our lovely stay in Iran by blowing up and completely obliterating all of their electric generating plants, oil wells, and Carg Island, and possibly desalination plants, which we have purposefully not yet touched. This will be in retribution for our many soldiers and others that Iran has butchered and killed over the old regime's 47-year reign of terror. Obviously, he ends it the same way every single time, but clear-cut evidence here of a genocidal madman right along the lines of Pete Hegseth and talking about, not following the rules of engagement, not going by international law, not having our soldiers handcuffed by the UN charters or the Geneva Conventions or anything like that. They were going to be totally free to do whatever they wanted. And again, that resulted in the Manab schoolgirls strike. Not only that, but obviously Donald Trump feeling more comfortable now to come out and just put in writing on social media the fact that he's willing to go ahead and commit war crimes on behalf of the United States, representing the United States, using the United States military for something that he started, right? To try to resolve a problem that wasn't a problem before the war he started, right? So if they don't open up the strait, again, something that was open before the war started, he's going to retaliate with a war crime because of something, that is a result of the war that he undertook. Like that's again, the craziness of this is almost too much. You're right. You lose sleep over this if you try to dig too deep into it. But that's exactly what's taking place. We are now fighting this battle in order to mitigate the secondary impacts of the battle that we undertook. Right? Makes sense? It shouldn't. But again, the explanation is right. That's exactly what's taking place right now. So this was Trump. I wanted to make sure to show you guys that. But Ocean Defender here. Let me see if there's anything else as far as news while we're on it. I forget if this is the one that I pulled up because there was a couple other instances. Here's one from the Saudi Arabian Ministry of Defense talking about in the last 24 hours, they shot down or tracked 15 Iranian drones, 1 Iranian cruise missile, and 5 Iranian ballistic missiles. Thus, again, showing you the capabilities, or at least some capabilities, above and beyond the eradication that Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump would have you believe has already undertaken. This kind of goes on here to suggest, I think there was a couple more here, because I know there was a big strike in Iran as well. Let me see here. My apologies. I think there was another one that I wanted to talk about, but I forget now where. Well, here's the IDF showed footage of strikes against Lebanese Hezbollah buildings and infrastructure in Beirut, showing the ever-expanding nature of the war in Lebanon, as we talked about in the beginning. So again, this is something that Donald Trump's not going to have the ability to kind of call off himself anymore. Here's kind of where Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt went on and did her job to lie. This is the IRGC has claimed that it targeted a U.S. command and control hub at El Dafra Air Base in the United Arab Emirates. Let's see here. We continue on. There's more pictures of the KC-135 that we talked about the other day that was hit. This is talking about the investigation that was launched into this kind of helicopter display that Kid Rock seemingly put together, where again this is just an incredible misuse of military equipment, military funds, and money in general there. So again, it does say that the Army has launched an investigation into why several of the AH-64 Apache helicopters with the 101st Brigade were filmed circling and hovering outside of fucking Kid Rock's house. So that's something that was reported as well. Let's see here. There's another one here from the Saudi Ministry of Defense that reports in the last hour, a total of 8 Iranian ballistic missiles have been detected and intercepted approaching the Saudi Arabia capital of Riyadh, close to the Prince Sultan Air Base. Massive explosion seen tonight. Here's the one in Isfahan, the strike in Isfahan that kind of made its way around social media and the news. Massive explosion seen tonight. This was 18 hours ago, of course, as we kind of work our way up to current timeline. Massive explosion seen tonight in central the Iranian city of Isfahan following airstrikes by Israel and or the United States. And then there was different images and different angles coming in from that attack as well. Here's another one. Several large explosions and significant fire, likely from munitions cook-offs, observed during a wave of strikes earlier tonight on Badr Military Airport near Isfahan in central Iran. So again, just kind of showing you the ongoing nature of the war and obviously the impacts that you're seeing at the pump because of it. Here's what is this one? U.S. Central Command Commander Admiral Brad Cooper shaking hands with the leader of the terrorist organization. Here's again where Donald Trump is kind of denigrating and demeaning our allies. Once again, here he puts out basically saying that, if you need oil through the strait, go and get it yourself. Don't expect us to do anything. All those countries that can't get jet fuel because of the Strait of Hormuz, like the United Kingdom, which refused to get involved in the decapitation of Iran, I have a suggestion for you. Number one, buy from the U.S. We have plenty. Number two, build up some delayed courage. Go to the strait and just take it. You'll have to start learning how to fight for yourself. The USA won't be there to help you anymore, just like you weren't there to help us. Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part is done. Go get your oil. And Donald Trump posted that this morning at 6:11 a.m. Again, talking about how the UK needs to go get its own jet fuel there because it didn't come to the United States assistance, even though that the United States didn't need the UK's help. We didn't want their help anyway, but now we're pissed off that they didn't help us. But again, they need to go get their oil from a place that isn't closed, that Donald Trump would have you believe is kind of open because of their negotiations, but also everybody's having a tough time getting anything through there. So again, putting all this together, it all makes no sense. And you'd be right to say, hey, that makes no sense. And here's another one where he's talking about France. The country of France wouldn't let planes wouldn't let planes headed to Israel loaded up with military supplies fly over French territory. France has been very unhelpful with respect to the, quote, butcher of Iran, who has been successfully eliminated. The USA will remember. Again, threats and kind of, weakening of relations with our allies on the world stage. We've seen that kind of continue. That's a through line we've seen through Donald Trump's administrations as well. But I think that kind of brings us up to the current timeline as far as that's concerned. But there's a ton of these little nuanced moments that we could talk about. I know Pete Hegseth had a few of them this morning. Talking about, bringing Jesus and God into this once again. Also, telling a story, probably one of the most this never happened stories that you could possibly imagine. Pete Hegseth told this morning, completely made up bullshit. But here's one of the clips here. This is a short clip where he's trying to once again bring Jesus Christ and the Lord and Savior and all of this nonsense and rigmarole into this fight to make it seem like this is like a religious war. But again, we all know that kind of religious wars are the ones that tend to last the longest, that kind of, people fight the hardest in. So I don't know why they'd be kind of really, quick to want to change this into or turn this into a religious war, considering how much they've railed against ongoing forever wars, religious wars, regime change wars in the past. But that's exactly what they've done. They tried to, from the beginning too, as we talked about the reports where they were sending out messages and memos to the commanders telling them that this was kind of like a crusade. We were doing this to bring back and resurrect Jesus Christ. And, we needed to do this for certain reasons. And they all had to do with religion, even though, again, we have a country with the separation of church and state that our founding fathers found very important to have kind of, put out there and very specific on that one. But here's Pete Hegseth talking about, and once again, bringing God into this as far as watching over the arms and the bombs and everything else. But here, we'll just play a second of this bullshit from Pete Hegseth.
On the flight line. May God watch over all of them.
Oh, it's really quiet. So good. Actually, I didn't want to hear Pete Hegseth anyway, so fuck him. I just want to see if I can find I want to see the fake story. See if I can find that fake story he told. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. I know it was close to here. Let me see here. May God watch over them. Is this the one? Bombs. The president was early sworn in. As far as Russia and China on airframes, there's 1,000 of these little friggin' things here. These clips, but there's one where he was telling a story about running into a different military personnel. Fuck, where was it? Am I not going to find it now? 6 to 8 weeks, where he talks about this one. Of course, the one that I want to find, I'm not going to be able to find now. He basically talks about how this, a female soldier, if I'm remembering correctly, ran into him and said that we need bigger and more bombs and that he was going to oblige. But I don't think that, I'm not going to take the time out to try to find it. There was a ton of clips coming out of that moment, but they're all the same. It's all the same bullshit. It's all the same bullshit. It's all, we've taken out all the targets. We've killed everybody. We've taken out the Navy. We've taken out the military. We've taken out the leaders. We've taken out this. There's no targets left. But also we're sending in more troops. Also, we need $200 billion more. Also, we're sending in more ships. Also, we're pissed off that we don't have our allies' help going forward. Also, we don't have the Strait of Hormuz open. Also, it's the same regime basically in place. It's just his son, a lot more hard-lined, a lot more pissed off, and a lot more unlikely to work with the United States. But again, so continuously the same shit being told to you by Pete Hegseth, but the reality on the ground that we have to look at, not matching up. Just not at all matching up with anything that they fucking continue to tell you. And it goes on. Oh, here it is right here. I knew I pulled it up. I knew I was kind of prepared for this. See, I know how to do this. This is really quick. A story that absolutely never took place. Just something that didn't happen. Totally made up. 100% on the spot. Thought it might look good, sound good if he added this part in here. Again, Pete Hegseth trying to make it seem like, everybody's just begging him to drop more and bigger bombs. Like, this guy only gets hard off of killing people. He only gets hard off of alcohol and killing people, dropping bombs. Like the same thing we'll talk about with Lady Lindsay at Disney, right? This guy that is so fucking rock hard for people to die and so rock hard for war, now finding themselves in a predicament because apparently only Lady Lindsay can get his kicks off at Disney, and only fucking Pete Hegseth, old whiskey dick Pete here, can get his kicks off by dropping bombs on innocent civilians and children. But again, this is a story 100% that never happened. Put that in this category. I'll take stories that never fucking happened for about 10 billion, Alex. Okay.
I did the same with his boss, a colonel with a heart the size of Texas and a beautiful deployment mustache to match. I witnessed lethality. I met a junior airman as the sun was going down and a chill was setting on the tarmac, who, when asked what they needed, she simply looked up at me with a sly smile on her face and said, "More bombs, sir, and bigger bombs."
I'm definitely sure that never happened. Okay. Like I said, I'll take about 10 billion on the fact that is a fucking made up story through and through on that one. Definitely didn't take place. Definitely didn't happen. Nobody is fucking walking up voluntarily to Pete Hegseth unless it's to kick him in the dick. It's about the only reason I could see anybody would voluntarily get close to Pete Hegseth, or you're kind of selling him booze. Otherwise, I don't think you'd be within that close of proximity to even get the words out so he could hear you. So again, another reason, another piece of evidence to suggest that this is a totally and completely made up fucking story by Pete Hegseth. Old whiskey dick here probably had a dream one day while he was either relapsing or coming down off of his binging. So that's probably my guess as far as why that was in his mind. But again, there's a few other clips here that I wanted to dive into too. Oh no, we already showed that one. That was the Iranians and came out with their propaganda piece. All right, so I digress. Hit that like button. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. We're gonna get into a couple of the clips here from the right wing idiots that are trying to get you to believe that there is some momentum, that this is either ending or it's not ending. First one we're going to dive into here is kind of the dumbest person on the internet. I consider him. That's Greg Kelly here. Greg Kelly has this one and try to make sense of this headline here. Is it over or just beginning? So Greg Kelly's not only going to get you to try to believe that this is coming to an end, but also that it could just be beginning. Right? This whole, not forever thing, this whole thing that was going to be over lickety split. It was going to be like the Venezuela going in and getting Maduro and out in a minute and a half, 4 to 6 weeks at the most. And we weren't even going to need that much. But also the president reserves the right to go as long as he wants, as far as like Caroline Leavitt and Pete Hegseth have been saying for quite some time, 4 to 6 weeks. But also that timeline doesn't mean anything because he can just pull another timeline out of his ass because he's the dear Fuhrer and he can do that apparently. But yeah, this is Greg Kelly trying to get the Newsmax audience to kind of believe it's over, but it's also just beginning. Like, do you see the kind of pretzel they have to tie themselves into here? Like the knots that they have to fucking pull off in order to try to get any coherent, what they think is a coherent message to their audience. Like, don't worry, it's over. It's over. It's the gas prices are going to go down any second now. As soon as he says no, they're going to skyrocket down, as Donald Trump loves to say. They're going to skyrocket right down, as Donald Trump loves to say. But also be prepared for this being just the beginning. Okay, just in case that none of that happens, not just in case everything that he said was a lie, also be prepared to send more and more troops into the area and have this go on for, a prolonged period of time at the same time. So that's kind of the pretzel that has to be done as far as being a right-wing commentator now. And just to show you how bad this is, and this is going to mute me for just a second while I put this on the other screen, so forgive me. I don't know. I still haven't figured out why everything on that screen mutes me, but check out Donald Trump's page here. Check out Donald Trump Jr.'s page over the last month, right? We'll go to 1 month ago. Here's 1 month. We've been about a month into this war, right? Is there any fucking thing that you can see on this screen right now that would lead you to believe that the United States, and not only just the United States, but the broader conflict, obviously, that we know raging in the Middle East is happening, but his father right now, who's president of the United States, is directly responsible for the war happening. Is there anything that you could see on this page that would detail or show you or even suggest that this country is at war right now? That there are men and women dying, that there are children dying, that there are people being brutalized by fucking U.S. and Israeli bombs right now. Anything that you can see on this page, okay? We'll go up. We'll continue. So here's a month ago, right? Month ago right here. So we got fire and ice. Nothing there. That's not going to tell us anything. Writing, what's it say? Righting the left's wrongs. That has nothing to do with it. AOC. America is back, so that has nothing to do with it. Far left fraud. Nope, that's not it. Another interview. Nope, nothing to do here. Byron Donalds. Anything that you can see. Cartels. Takes over a fraud in California. This one's Schoolhouse Shock. The destructive Dem agenda. And the newest one, obviously, on the big story everybody's talking about right now, is fraud, or the money trail of where the money has gone inside of Ukraine. I mean, nothing. This is, if you want to know how poorly this is going, look no further than Donald Trump Jr.'s fucking page here on Rumble. Because if it was going well, right? If this was going fucking well and he had every opportunity and ability to come out here and applaud and cheer and point at different things, at this being like an overwhelming success, don't you think Donald Trump Jr. would be out there doing it, right? Don't you think he'd have, maybe he can't. Maybe he's not allowed to because of the affiliations he has with some of the fucking defense contractors that got some of these Pentagon contracts. But I'm sure he wouldn't be willing to recognize that anyway, so that can't be it. But absolutely fucking nothing. This guy's father is now heading a war, right, in the Middle East, a war that he said he would never get involved in. Gas prices are up through the fucking roof, things that he said he was going to fucking lower by half, right? We got fucking fights going on with our allies. We got, the people of Cuba starving in darkness over there. We got fucking Greenland and NATO. Everything's up in arms. Everything's going haywire. But Donald Trump Jr. not fucking talking about a single thing, not a single mention of the war in the Middle East that apparently his brother-in-law, Jared Kushner, solved, right? The peace in the Middle East that Jared Kushner was responsible for in the first fucking administration. Nothing. Not a fucking mention. I'm continuously shocked every time I see this, because you'd think, again, if things were going so swimmingly, if Donald Trump's rhetoric and Donald Trump's fucking statements that he's making were actually lining up with what reality is taking place on the ground, Donald Trump Jr. would be all fucking over it. The guy that loves guns and war and hunting and shooting and shit, right? The guy that thinks fucking the United States military is should be wielded at the Trump's family disposal, right, as their political pawns, as their personal fucking security force to either, again, change the headlines, change the narratives, or to take over a certain property to make sure that they can profit from that, whether it's Trump Plaza Gaza or whatever the fuck else they're trying to build with these fuck-ass skank people in these regions, right? But again, look no further than Donald Trump. Not a fucking mention. Not a single video. Not a single mention. Is crazy, bro. That is fucking, as the kids say today, diabolical, right? Fuck me. But all right, let's get into Greg Kelly. Pause. Sorry. Should have reworded that one. Let's get into this video by Greg Kelly, I should say, trying to, again, propagandize his audience into believing this is over at any point now. We're going to be out of this any second, but also this is just the beginning. It's also just the beginning. And again, we don't have to dive into too much of this video. We got a bunch of videos to get into. We got another one here from a couple here from James O'Brien, which I am happy to get into as well. And then we got a couple here by, we got one by Tim Pool, Benny Johnson. So we'll be diving into those as well. All right, let's get into this one by Greg Kelly, and then we can get into a little bit of more intelligent videos by James O'Brien. All right, here's a little bit of stupidity first.
We begin with Iran. Hey, we're at war pretty much, so I think it's worth...
Whoa, Greg. Fuck. What the hell? Special military operation. Good Lord, brother. Didn't you get the memo, bro? You can't be calling this a war still, even though Marco Rubio just called it a war, even though Donald Trump just called it a war, even though Pete Hegseth just called it a war, even though Lindsey Graham called it a war, even though everybody so far has pretty much called it a war. Mark Wayne Mullen called it a war. Everybody's called it a war, but now you can't call it a war. You just can't do it, brother. It's not a war. It's a special military operation. You're going to get a call from Putin. Putin's going to get you're going to get a call from Putin. He's not going to be happy. He's fucking laid the groundwork for you guys. He's got the blueprint out there for almost 5 years now, right? Going on 5 fucking years now. You guys had this to follow. Special military operation, Greg.
Don't you? And is it over or is it just beginning? Maybe a little bit of both. We are...
Yeah, a little bit of both. It's at the same time, it's almost over. It's at the same time just beginning. The fucking military, the mental gymnastics that has to be fucking accomplished, that you have to be like you. I'm sorry. I know he's stupid. But again, the mental flexibility that these people have should be studied for quite some time. It really should. To be able to be like, hey, guess what? At the same time, it's almost over. It's also at the same time just beginning. Try to wrap your mind around that one.
Right now at 30 days. I heard an interesting statistic today. They said the average war, if you added up all the wars, lasts about 3 years. So this is kind of a microsecond in comparison.
I'm sorry. So are you calling for this to at any point up until 3 years is also like something that you're not going to call out? Like because you just found the average out? I don't know where he just pulled that statistic out of his ass. I don't know if that can be confirmed or corroborated by any stretch of the imagination. But so you're saying that 3 years now is the mark? We're going to go from 3 to 6 weeks or 4 to 6 weeks to 3 years now because that's seemingly the average time. And until it's beyond that, he really hasn't, he really hasn't gone too far. Is that what I'm getting? Because that would be more along the lines of this is going to be kind of looked at as like a forever type war if we're going to be talking about 3 years down the line here, right? God knows what kind of damage we're going to be seeing. God knows what kind of fucking secondary impacts are going to be felt on the fucking world economy in another 3 years if we're still at this shit.
President Trump said 4 to 6 weeks at the outset. I think we're on track. There is a scenario, however, that takes this thing longer.
And by what metric are you using to come up to that conclusion? What metric are you using to say that we're basically on track for that 4 to 6 week? Like what goals have been met? What kind of, what have we obtained? What have we done besides, again, put the Iranians up on a pedestal on the fucking world stage now as far as having more power, even though we've apparently obliterated all of their military capabilities, but somehow, they continue to lob ballistic missiles and, and fucking drones all over the place.
We'll get to that in a moment. So far, we know what we've done. Hey, we took out their Navy. We've taken out their missiles. We've taken out their nukes for the most part.
Whoa. No, we did that 6 months ago, 7 months ago at this point, maybe even longer. We obliterated that to begin with. And what's to say now that we've taken out their nukes? Do you have confirmation on that? Like why is Mark Levin telling us that we need to go and send troops into Iran to make sure that we can recover all of the uranium if they're, again, it's already been obliterated. So again, none of this actually lining up with the rhetoric you've just heard probably the previous day by somebody else in the GOP. It's then being, contradicted by somebody else in the GOP or the right wing the very next day, or probably the same day.
What next? It's unclear. It's a little.
Oh man, what's next? Dude, it is never a good thing in a war where you don't know what's next, right? And I understand to a large degree, it's really difficult to understand, but at least you have goals, right? At least you would have an idea. Like at least you would have a direction. Like you can't say to a certainty, you can't say, within the, every category, exactly what's going to take place, but you should have some clear instance. You should have some clear sight as to what's going to happen, right? The goals that you need to obtain, what you need to mitigate as far as retaliation from the other side. Greg Kelly's just totally out in the fucking open right now. He has no clue what's next. He has no clue as far as, goals, accomplishments, what he's being told. Like he can talk about until he's blue in the face the amount of ships that have been destroyed. He can talk about until he's blue in the face the amount of fucking planes that have been destroyed. He can talk about until he's blue in the face the amount of fucking leadership that have been taken out. None of that seems to have any impact right now on where we are, okay? We seem to be in a much worse spot because of all of that right now than we were before this war was undertaken, right? So again, you can talk about that till the fucking cows come home. Nobody gives a fuck. That's why these aren't numbers that are giving him the ability to declare victory. Right? As much as he wants to talk about the amount of ships in the Navy and the Air Force and the leadership, like he's talked about that since the second day or the third day. It's not giving him the ability to declare victory. That shit isn't enough because of what we continuously see every single night. The ability that the Iranians still have to strike the ports, to strike inside of Israel, to strike the U.S. bases, the FPV drones that have been flying willy-nilly over U.S. bases, taking out planes, taking out fucking $8 million radar systems and $70 million aircraft, right? I mean, this isn't what it looks like to win in complete and total fashion, to have the other side ready to capitulate. This is the opposite of what it looks like. It looks like a guy in a side in a country that is ready still to fight till the death, that still has the ability to affect and to put pressure on the Strait of Hormuz and to control the Strait of Hormuz and to control and to affect pressure on the world economy and global trade of oil and what you pay at the pump. Like they have enough power. You understand how much power that is? The Iranian regime can do something and it affects what you fucking pay as far as how much you're paying for gas, right? Like how much you're paying for a fucking plane ticket, how much you're paying at Target or Walmart for shit. Like that sounds like power to me. Doesn't sound like a weakened nation, or at least a nation weakened to an extent where they can't fucking affect or, cause any damage. That's just not what I'm seeing. That's not what we continuously show. So as much as they love to talk about who's been killed and what's been sunk and what's been shot down and the amount of targets been hit, 25 billion targets already hit, I don't give a fuck. Doesn't seem to be helping. Doesn't seem to be affecting any change. Doesn't seem to be the right targets, right? So now, again, we're trying to mitigate the impacts of the reaction, right? The result of our war, as far as the Strait of Hormuz, that wasn't a problem before we undertook the war. Just none of it. All of it is ridiculous. And you can see here, even Greg Kelly doesn't know where and how to propagandize this. where he's like, what's next? Well, I don't know. He doesn't even have, he doesn't have a good fucking piece of, propaganda to use. He doesn't have an idea that popped into his head as far as what could possibly look like what we're looking at, because he knows it doesn't look good. He knows anything now is going to have to be a dramatic escalation, right? We're going to have to seize islands. We're going to have to seize territory and put our service members in harm's way in order to do whatever we need to do in order to change this situation or to end this, right? Or to make sure that, the price of oil and the price of goods doesn't continuously rise like we've seen it rise. So again, he's not acknowledging that because he doesn't want to have to acknowledge that, because he was promised and did promise his base and his fans no new wars, all fucking peace, cheap gas, cheap homes, right? No fucking war in Ukraine, all of this bullshit, none of which we have seen. And, he's struggling at this point to be able to, to kind of defend and obfuscate and kind of, reword it and rewrite history to a point that makes sense to his audience, or at least his audience can digest without feeling like they've been slighted. You know what I mean? But all right, let's go into somebody that has many more brain cells, because again, there's only so much of these idiots that you can watch. And because we have Tim Pool and Benny Johnson still to come, we can only dive into so much of so many of these idiots individually. We kind of have to spread it out, and that's what I try to do here. So we try to spread out the idiocy of people like that with kind of the brilliance of people like James O'Brien here, which again, good to see, and happy to see that more and more people from this side of the pond, more and more Americans are getting familiar with James O'Brien. Again, if you've watched this podcast for any amount of time, you guys are well aware of James O'Brien. Again, aging myself, have been watching him for quite, I don't know, going on 10 plus years at this point. But again, because of some of the recent clips he's had and some of the, the blunt ways he's kind of put the situation here with Iran and Donald Trump, he's been having some clips making the rounds on social media, which is inevitably getting him introduced to more and more people, which is good to see, which is definitely good to see, because I always tell people here, and again, you guys can attest to this in the chat, watch outside resources, watch outside of the country news sources, obviously do your homework and research, again, who's owned in those companies and who's running those different places and stuff like that. But again, it's always good to see if you can get some insight from the BBC. Obviously, we watch LBC a lot, but if you can get some Al Jazeera, if you can get some outside resources from outside of the United States to get a different perspective. I always love to tell people to do that, because the agendas of the corporations and the media inside of the United States definitely has an effect on what they're reporting and how they're reporting it. So again, to get that kind of the way that the world is viewing what's going on in the United States aspect is very beneficial, I believe, and has done us a lot of good in this show, and has kind of given us a lot of insight where the mainstream media in this country, and again, even the independent media figures in this country, you won't hear it from. So again, this is just a couple minutes. He's got two here. I just want to play probably the first maybe 2 minutes of each video, if I may. And I think, wait, I don't know. I always change these. I always have it marked somewhere and then I change it. But let me just see here. I think it's the 8-minute mark on this one. And then I have just a kind of clip from another one that he's talking about here. So this first one is the war they wanted is going disastrously wrong. And the next one is titled, How Will the War End in Iran? So again, just a couple minutes from these two. Here's a moment from the first one. Hit that like button. I'm Boston Brian. This is James O'Brien from LBC. Would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel if you're not already. All right, hit that like. Let's go.
Down in this way. Because Keir Starmer, for his myriad faults, and we'll get onto some of them in the second hour, Keir Starmer, for his myriad faults, has called this absolutely correctly, and yet we are still in a very deep hole, and it is getting deeper. Donald Trump is mad. This is not really a subject for debate anymore, although you are absolutely and always welcome to debate it. You are welcome to tell me that he's as sane as the day is long and that everything he's doing is both justified and ancient. 03456060973 for the KLF fans. I reject that analysis, but I'm always open to persuasion. And because he is mad, apparently mad, you find yourself in this curious
And
position.
again, for anybody that doesn't watch a lot of British television or listen to a lot of British radio, by mad, they mean, crazy, insane, ludicrous, out of his fucking mind, not upset, not angry. Mad is in a fucking lunatic, which is, again, a spot-on assessment of where Donald Trump is right now as far as mental capabilities. He is just an absolute lunatic that has just completely lost all touch with reality, all care, and all sense of dignity, compassion, human fucking whatever you want to talk about. He's got none of it. All of the fucking things. He's got none of those things. Zero of them.
As we have touched on many, many times together, of not knowing what you're supposed to do. If you can tell the
and
truth.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys that are contributing in the show there. I see you, Carol. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Colleen. Thank you, Nola, who donated at the beginning of the show. I really do appreciate you guys and all of your contributions. Again, less than a gallon of gas. Less than a gallon of gas. You could sign up for a YouTube membership just underneath me. Venmo's up in the left-hand side there. $1 or $2 is all we ask for. Anything above and beyond that, totally up to you guys. You can go to the Blunt Politics merch shop too at bostonbrian.com. Ton of different ways in which you can help, all run in-house, all done by us, for us, and with the help of you guys there in the chat. So, try to help us get to 20,000 subscribers. We're trying to get there before midterm so we can get the most punches in on the GOP while we kick their ass, while that blue wave is taking place. So please help us get there. Subscribe to the channel if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing. And thank you to everybody in the chat contributing, whether it's via Venmo or, again, super chat, super sticker, reaching a milestone in there. I do appreciate you guys. So, again, if I don't see it, go by in the chat, stick around to the end of the show, and we go through every single one of the donations, contributions, milestones, every single show to make sure that you guys get your moment in the sun, your time to shine, your spotlight, because you guys deserve it for keeping this show running. So, again, hit that like button. Let's get back into James O.B. Let's go.
You can talk about it. If you can't tell the truth because you sold your soul to Donald Trump's racism, misogyny, and climate change 10 years ago, and you still haven't got a receipt for it, then you can't talk about this war. And because we're not talking about this war, we're going to be even more surprised by the impact of it. We're going to be even more surprised when it becomes apparent that we are more exposed to the Middle Eastern energy crisis, because that's what it is, to the Middle Eastern energy crisis, than pretty much any other country. And
basically what he's referencing is the people on the right that were so ready to defend, like the people like Nigel Farage and the rest of those assholes and the Tommy Robinsons and the morons that you can think of that are over there. Like, they're all really, really quiet now. They're not bringing up kind of the situation, the economic impacts, that they're under. They're not talking about the mental instability of the United States regime right now and kind of where they've gotten the world into. None of that's being talked about as far as that's concerned. It's a similar way to, the people that wanted it over here as far as believe the bullshit and the rhetoric as far as no new wars have been really quiet. A few of them have spoken out as far as the base, but usually it's up to the MAGA commentary base to speak up. But again, there's one other point here, 12:30, that I wanted to go to, where he makes another good point as well, and then we'll dive on to this next clip. But I think he calls it right here, because of the mental vapidness of Donald Trump. Like, it's impossible for people to understand what choice to make next or where this is going to go. Like, you can see how difficult it is for, different podcasters, different commentary people, different media figures on trying to figure out the through line that I've seen in the shows is like, none of this makes sense. Nothing adds up. It's all ridiculous. It's all dangerous. The lies that you're being told, kind of where they want you to believe the war's at, compared to where things on the ground actually lie, it couldn't be further, couldn't be further apart. You know what I mean? So again, let's just dive into this clip and then we'll go into the next one.
They have realized that they can't do that, so now we're looking at the possibility of troops on the ground. Can we make a little promise to each other? Can we try really hard? And this probably involves you policing me a little bit more closely than I police you. Can we try really hard not to say boots on the ground? Because they're human beings in those boots. It's people's partners, people's children, people's parents in those boots that Donald Trump is, shall we just say, somewhat uncaring of. It's not boots on the ground. I understand the phrase, and it'll be a very lonely path that we plow together, but I think it's important. It's troops on the ground. It's people on the ground. It's humans. at risk.
And I think that's a point that we've tried to make here a bunch of times too, recognizing that people in the chat here, people all over the place have, friends, they have family, they have brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins, sisters, mothers, brothers, whatever it may be, nieces, nephews, grandchildren serving over there. That are now at risk, and we have to recognize that we can't speak about this carelessly. We can't fail to recognize the people that have been directly impacted further and much more than just gas prices or exorbitant prices for groceries or clothes or whatever it may be. They're directly impacted by the loved ones that they have now in the areas that they're worried about. So something that we've tried to continuously bring up when we're describing this and talking about this. As far as secondary impacts and people that are being harmed and hurt because of these decisions and the impacts and using the military in this way, and hopefully recognizing that through the people in the chat and hopefully showing some compassion and making sure that you guys have a shoulder to lean on, so to speak, here in the chat to kind of get that out and to make sure that people understand and respect what you're going through as well. So I just wanted to make sure to kind of play that as far as recognizing the human toll and that there are real individuals and young, bright people right now being put at risk by some of these maniacal, genocidal fucking autocrats that couldn't give a shit less about who lives and who dies. We played that the other day with Dana Perino, as we've talked about a couple times, where, he didn't give a shit about the plight of the Iranian people. He was more worried about, what she looked like when she was 11 years old at the fucking lunch they had at Trump Tower or whatever the fuck, right? The sick, decrepit, fucking despicable old man went right to fucking where exactly where you thought somebody listed in the Epstein files over 1 million times would go, right? So no secret there, no surprise there. But let's dive on to this next one here, because it's just the beginning of this next one that we want to go through. Again, making some pretty good points, leaning on and using some of the rhetoric coming from Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth. I think here's kind of where he's talking about the special military operation compared to war rhetoric and how ridiculous that is compared to, in result of what they've already come out and said, I should say. So again, this is just about a 2-minute part of this video that I need to dive into the first couple minutes here. So again, hit that like button. This is again James O'Brien, LBC. This is titled, "How Will the War in Iran End?" And again, you don't have to go through the whole thing. Let's dive into it.
Here is Trump saying the quiet bit out loud.
Democrats are putting our country at great risk during this period of time, a period that they call a war. They call it a war. We call it a military operation.
Marco Rubio didn't get the memo.
We are dealing with a 47-year-old regime that still has a lot of people involved in it who aren't necessarily big fans of diplomacy or peace.
And if it fails, the war expands?
What's that? I'm sorry?
If it fails, the war expands?
Well, the war is about this operation, okay, and that's what this is. It's about very specific objectives. The president laid them out on the first night of the operation.
It's just a lie, though. It's absolutely incredible. But here we are. Was it regime change? Is it the obliteration of all their military capabilities that he's referring to? Because neither of them have happened. I would put money on the claim that he's just looking for the least humiliating off-ramp. He's looking for the way in which he can claim victory, which won't be true, but will be the least obviously untrue in his own warped mind. And that might mean putting troops on the ground at Karg Island or elsewhere. There are a couple of other contenders for tactically intelligent destinations, but that might, in his own warped mind, make it easier for him to claim or pretend that he's secured some sort of victory, rather than just calling it quits now and going back. Because you know where we are now. We're at the point where he's threatening to obliterate all the things he told us he'd already obliterated. So how does the current war end? And remember, your answer is as good as anybody's, because nobody knows. None of the experts know, because they are not looking at normal, rational, traditional events. They're looking at a madman. We are living in such a...
And again, you can see what he's talking about as far as the experts, and that's what I was just talking about. The through line, and a lot of this reporting is like the difficulty people are having in trying to figure out, okay, what comes next? What is the purpose? What is the goal? What is the intent? Like, it's impossible to figure out how many troops will be in a region or how many they'll inevitably send if you don't know what the intent is, if you don't know what the goal is. Are they going after the uranium, as we heard Mark Levin talk about the other day, and try to butter up the United States citizenry to go after? Or again, is it going to be just Karg Island so Donald Trump can kind of take a victory lap on taking over, the oil on that island? Or is it going to be the islands around the Strait of Hormuz? So Donald Trump, but which would require more action in order to, again, pry open the Strait of Hormuz out of the control of the Iranians. So again, that's more and further escalation that would have to happen in order to take a victory lap for that. So none of it really makes sense. Nobody knows which way to look. Nobody knows what is fucking happening, considering, again, like he just said, the incompetent, maniacal madmen that are now in charge here. The absolute fucking, opposite of what normal minds and what normal people and what rational thought would bring you and tell you. You just can't think that way nowadays, considering the people that have now been put in place. But he brings up this other clip here. I think, let me bring this on up. Yeah, he brings up where Donald Trump brought up the war part here. Check this out.
Tremendous success that we're having in this military operation. I won't use the word war because they say if you use the word war, that's maybe not a good thing to do. They don't like the word war because you're supposed to get approval. So I'll use the word military operation.
And remember, troops on the ground, not boots on the ground, people dying, people already dead. And he has to put on a funny voice when he says military operation. Marco Rubio, obviously, briefly forgot about why they can't call it a war.
Well, the war is about this operation, okay? And that's what this is.
You see the slip up? The war. And then he had to call it an operation. So these people, they can't even get the talking points right. They can't even get that much right. And again, we brought that clip up the other day where Donald Trump pretty much, again, the most quiet part out loud as far as not calling it a war, only because they would recognize that he needed approval in order to undertake such a thing. So again, these little clips that we continue to show and the people all over the world are recognizing as being absolutely insane, crazy, mad men, people that are not normal. Things that you cannot take as normal, things that you cannot react to as normal, things that you can't predict based off what normal, typical people would decide and what they would undertake. You just cannot. There's no way to do it in this way. There's no way to do it. There's nothing that makes sense, from people like Mehdi Hassan to people like James O'Brien, Don Lemon. I've heard everybody. Just there's no way for you to make sense of any of this compared to, considering what you're being told to what's happening on the ground and the realities in your fucking daily life. It's impossible to kind of put it into context. It really is. But let's see here if we can kind of change speeds just a little bit. And I don't know if I should do. Yeah, let's do this one first. Let's do this one first, if you'll indulge me. Again, we've talked about Lady Lindsay here quite a lot recently. Lindsay Graham being probably the most despicable human being currently out there drunk in front of cameras, calling for the bloodlust, demanding war, demanding sending U.S. troops into different areas on his behalf, basically calling for another Iwo Jima, even though he doesn't take into account the amount of casualties, the amount of death and destruction that came from that battle and others just like it. But again, Lindsey Graham was caught apparently at Disney by himself. Again, an unmarried, childless man caught at Disney by himself with a purple scepter. And who better to bring you that news, ladies and gentlemen? Who better to bring you the news on Lady Lindsay, light in the loafers Lindsay, than our boy? Nope, not him, but this guy, Benny Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Benny Johnson. I don't think there's anybody more kind of, worthy, somebody that's more qualified to describe the shortcomings, let's just say, of Lady Lindsey Graham than Benny Johnson. So this is, I love it. Benny Johnson here going after Lindsey Graham, again, a member of his own fucking, his own side. So the right eating the right, another example of that kind of fits into the MAGA Civil War category. But this is, again, Benny Johnson going after and trying to, I don't know if he's defending. I didn't watch this at all. I wanted to make sure to dive into it with you guys. So I don't know if he's pissed at Lindsey Graham or if he's trying to defend Lindsey Graham. But again, yeah, Lindsey Graham goes straight from calling for more war, calling for more troops to be sent in, for more blood to be spilt, more people to be killed, straight to Disneyland, apparently. What better way to kind of relax and recuperate from, a long bout of Fox News interviews after a couple bottles of whiskey, calling for fucking ample blood to be spilt, than to go right down to hang with some kids, I guess. I don't know. Let's see what Benny's got to say about it. Ew. Oh my God. These people are just the fucking grossest in the world. They really are the fucking grossest people in the world.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. It's always these guys, the guys who would
Hey,
be
Benny.
the most useless in a war, that advocate the most
so he's
for
pissed
our
now.
young people to go off and die.
All right, good. I thought this was what it was going to be. I was hoping he was going to be going after him for also calling for, U.S. men and women to die in the war over there for Israel, while also going to Disney. I didn't think he was going to give him a pass at this point. So, okay, let's see what he has to say.
Well, literally no reason, and we've seen this play before. I watched it through Iraq and Afghanistan. It was always the old and degenerate, diseased, and compromised that demand that, let's see, what is Lindsey Graham saying here? He's saying, I'm not with isolationist Americans. I'm with Israel until my dying day.
Plus. All isolationists, I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you. I'm with Israel. I will be with Israel to our dying day.
Bye then, Lady Lindsay. I'm sure there's fucking ample room on a flight right to Israel that you could take. Fucking pack your bags. See you later. Sayonara. Fucking ciao, Bella, whatever you want to fucking say. Get the fuck out of here then. I'm sure they got ample room for you there, right? I'm sure they'll be more than happy to fucking kick some Palestinians out of the fucking West Bank to create you a home, considering that's what they're doing anyway. So go ahead, Lindsay, you son of a bitch. If you're more fucking worried about what's happening to Israel and for the fucking government of Israel, fucking beat feet, you piece of shit.
If you're with Israel till your dying day, why don't you go sign up and fight for Israel?
Yeah, fuck. Fucking Lindsey Graham making me agree with fucking Benny Johnson. Fucking Christ almighty. See what you did, lady? See what you did, Linz? See what you gone and did? You fucking put me on the same fucking shoe. You gave me the same fucking talking point that Benny Johnson's now using. We're in agreement. Go fight for them, you prick.
Or you can go enlist. You have some pretty great connections. You're constantly in Ukraine on the front lines there. Where are you? Why aren't you fighting in this war? Kind of fascinating a thing to say. I'm not with Americans. I'm with Israel till my dying day. Lindsey Graham.
Oh, geez, Benny, you'll have a real problem then. I forget who the guy was, but he actually came dressed in an IDF uniform to the halls of Congress. Have you guys recognize or remember who that was? I don't remember the guy's name, but he came dressed in an IDF uniform to the halls of Congress. But again, I don't think Benny Johnson had a problem with that one.
Saying he's, wanting to start World War III, saying he wants all Arab countries to get involved. Get your head out of the sand.
To protect the American homeland. And when I hear of Arab country that we're not going to get involved, it really pisses me off. So to all those who wonder about sending sons and daughters, they're there. They've been there. They're there protecting you. And how can you be for the Trump's war and not be for the troops who are fighting it?
So he's asking for more for the Arab sons and daughters to go and fight and die. And even members of Congress who have served, as a U.S. Air Force veteran, Anna Luna, saying, I'm upset at the lack of respect Lindsey Graham has displaying about our troops. He's acting like they're expendable cattle. This is unacceptable and dark.
Wow. So this is Anna Paulina Luna and Benny Johnson calling out Lindsey Graham. And again, this is what we were just talking about, where Lindsey Graham referenced Iwo Jima without talking about the amount of casualties and the amount of death and destruction that went along with that, and just kind of happily and openly being fucking excited about, again, further death and destruction. And he probably brings up a couple more of these instances where he goes at him, but I'm kind of curious what he says about Lindsey's time at Disney. Let's see if we can dive into a little bit more of Lindsey's time at Disney. Where does he kind of get into it? Where does he get into it? Let's see. I think he gets into it about here. Let's dive into it, guys.
In South Carolina, I'm asking them to send their sons and daughters over to the Mideast. What I want you to do.
Oh, okay. I'm asking them to send their sons and daughters over to the Mideast. Is Lindsey Graham going back to South Carolina? Nope. Because last time I checked, Disney World is not in South Carolina. Lindsey Graham, all the bluster and all the anger and all the raging about everyone needs to go and die for some rock in the Middle East, is himself unable to get his rocks off without being.
And again, do you see how they're so willing to, and this goes right along the lines of the Epstein files too, right? So they're so willing to call out Pam Bondi. They're so willing to call out Kash Patel. They're so willing to call out anybody else that had anything to do with it, to make it seem like they want to see the fucking files released. Meanwhile, they will just refuse to put Donald Trump in any involvement whatsoever. Totally fucking excuse all involvement that he has in any affiliation that he has, the relationships that he had, the amount of times he's listed in the files. Totally won't reference that. Totally fucking give him a pass for that. The same thing here, right? Like he's out there talking about like the bloodlust and the fucking, the bullshit that Lindsey Graham's been out there spewing, and rightly so, because he has been. But again, who's perpetrating this war? Who's the main guy responsible for it? And again, not the de facto president of the United States, Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm talking about the fucking guy that's leading this country right now, Donald Trump. You see how it's like, it's never Donald Trump's fault. It's never, hey, why is Donald Trump doing this? Let's bring up the Lindsey Grahams and the rest of these people that we could go after and kind of make a video so that we could point back and say, oh, we did have a problem with it, but you weren't really calling out the leader, right? You were doing this mealy-mouthed fucking bullshit pushback of people that were too weak, that you felt that they were weak enough for you to go after, right? So this is it's the same fucking thing here. Let's call out Lindsey Graham for his bloodlust without recognizing that the only reason that his bloodlust even has the ability to happen is because of the undertakings, because of the decision made by Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu, Jared Kushner, to keep Benjamin Netanyahu away from his fucking corruption trials and to keep Donald Trump away from the fucking headlines, bringing him to account for his involvement in the Donald Trump files with a few mentions of Jeffrey Epstein every now and again, right? So you can see exactly why we're in this, what's happening from it, but they just don't call out the people responsible. But they will call out like the underlings, right? The people that won't make their base kind of react. They won't make their base be pissed off at the Der Fuhrer. But he goes on here because I'm curious what else he says about Lindsey Graham's purple scepter
at Disney, and that is exactly where Lindsey Graham has been caught, humiliatingly standing in line for a Mickey Mouse buffet.
Jesus Christ. Do you know how fucking insane this is? Do you have fucking any idea how insane this is? I mean, not just like an old guy with no kids, no wife is hanging around at fucking Disney, but a United States fucking politician, a United States senator, while also calling for death and destruction and war in the Middle East, while also, we got this undertaking of sending troops and the buildup of troops to possibly put troops on the ground in the Middle East. Like, this is fucking what's happening behind the scenes. We get Donald Trump talking about a ballroom. Lindsey Graham's at fucking Disney. Ted Cruz is probably in Cancun. Like the fucking, like the disconnect between what they see as being the outcome from their decisions and them just having no accountability and having to face no justice for that outcome or for the fucking ramifications of their undertakings is just wild. Is just absolutely fucking wild. How you in your head could be like, you know what? It's probably not going to be a problem if I get photographed at Disney as a fucking old, creepy old man, right? With no wife and no kids while we have a war going on, while fucking, we have this chaos happening with the government and the shutdown and TSA and ICE and all this other fucking bullshit that we could point to. No, I think it'd be good for me to get my picture taken at Disney with a purple fucking scepter. Again, we haven't even gotten to that part, but just, I want you to understand the insanity of this. And I know to a large extent, this has been normalized. The actions of these fucking idiots has been normalized, but no longer can this be fucking not called out. No longer can this be looked at as something like not being insane and ridiculous, because that's exactly what the fuck this is. And again, above and beyond the fact that he's a fucking creepy old man at Disney without wife and kids. Okay. We're talking about a fucking United States senator at a time of instability we haven't seen in God knows how long right now, without a care in the world, out there fucking waiting in line for a Disney buffet. Like, okay, what are the optics on that one? Wait till Iran gets a hold of that one. I can't wait to see that one in their next fucking Lego propaganda video. Lindsey Graham getting a fucking BJ at the Disney fucking buffet line, for Christ's sakes.
At Disney. I mean, I can't believe this is real. And it gets worse. Lindsey Graham was ineffective in talking his colleagues into keeping the government open, but he had a great convo with Mickey Mouse at Disney World. The senator had breakfast at Chef Mickey's restaurant at the resort at Disney World.
I mean, look at that fucking picture, please. Let me get out of the way. Look at this picture. Look at this picture. You got the young girl on the bottom of the screen with her fucking Mickey ears on, taking a selfie, right? You got the fucking happy family to the right, having their breakfast, getting their little orange juice served by fucking Minnie the Mouse. And then you got Lindsey fucking Graham, United States Senator at a time of war, at a time we're sending our troops to the Middle East by the thousands, at a time where gas prices have risen in 4 weeks faster than they've ever risen in this fucking country. The first dollar rise in 4 weeks that we've ever seen. Since 1991, at least I think Harry Enton was seeing as far as one of the records there. But this is what we got on screen. This is what we're fucking portraying to the world. This is what we're portraying to our enemies. Lindsey fucking Graham, our senators, our leaders here, having his own little fucking cup of joe by himself at Disney. Like, unfucking real, dude. Unfucking real.
There, the Disney characters can come and literally serve Lindsey Graham, which is what happened. Lindsey talked to the staff, tucked him away at the back table, the Fay lines, which certainly he's at Disney for some type of fundraiser, right? And he needs a senator.
It gets worse,
he's calling
too.
for everyone to get slaughtered in the Middle East.
It gets worse. Here it is right here. I was gonna skip ahead, but here he goes right here. Check this pic. Look at this. And I'm sure you've seen this already. But look at this. Look at this fucking shit. Look at this shit.
Nope. He's literally there to go ride rides. This is the man who's gonna with a giant pink.
He's got a fucking toy, bro. He's got he got souvenirs and shit. Okay, this wasn't like hey, I was in the area, they got great restaurants, and I like the coffee at Disney type of thing. Like, he's in lines going to like, he's got gear in his hand. He's got little princess fucking scepters. I don't know what that is. I don't know what it is. I'm a grown man. I don't know what it is, but he knows what it is. He's got it. He had enough fucking dollars in his back pocket to spend on one of those things and didn't find it necessary to put it in a bag, at least, to walk around with the goddamn thing, right? I mean, what you do at home is what you do at home. I got nothing to say about it, but put it in a fucking bag at least, Lindsay. Jesus Christ.
Bubble wand, by the way. It's a bubble wand. You ever heard
bubble wand? It's a bubble wand. Oh my God. It's a bubble wand. What are we doing? What is this timeline? Remove me. Please, somebody hit the fucking stop button on this earth so I can get off. I want off this planet immediately. A fucking bubble wand. You are joking. Oh, boy. Okay. A bubble wand. Okay. And of course, hey, of course Benny knew what it was. Of course Benny Johnson knew that was a bubble wand, right? Probably really a prominent thing on Grindr nowadays. And don't ask me what they use it for, but Benny Johnson knew. Benny Johnson knew.
You know what a bubble wand is? This is a bubble wand. It looks like this. Maybe this is the one he actually literally has.
Oh my God.
Yep, he gets this bubble wand. So they shoot bubbles out. He's literally wandering around. I cannot believe this is real. Lindsey Graham's wandering around, picking up toys and souvenirs at Disney. Lindsey Graham lives it up at Disney World. We
don't have to dive into too much of that, but just to kind of, again, show you the insanity of the timeline that we're in, the ridiculousness of the people that are now leading us to our destruction. Again, they don't seem to give a shit. They don't seem to care. They don't have a care in the world. They've padded their pockets. Their wallets are fat enough where they could take the hit no matter what happens. And again, as long as they got money for another fucking Minnie Mouse bubbler, I guess everything's all set. They don't have to really worry about too much. But to go back into to kind of switch gears just a little bit to kind of show you what's taking place with this country that Lindsey Graham wishes desperately he was a part of, and basically has more reverence for and more love for than he does the United States, which would obviously be Israel. Here's a couple clips that I was talking about and I've referenced, I think either Sunday or on the shows just before, and I wanted to make sure to kind of play them so I didn't just talk about and didn't just reference them. This is one of them here by oops, sorry. Let me play this one. This is one posted by CNN. And basically, this is just showing the treatment, basically showing the aggression and what was taking place with not only IDF soldiers, but also Israeli settlers in the West Bank as we continue to see, the expansion of Israel, greater Israel taking place in not only Lebanon, but into different areas here, basically flouting the law, saying that they know it's illegal, that nobody should be there, but they don't care, and that at some point it won't be illegal. I mean, you can see here by the rhetoric and what's been said here that they just have no regard for human life. They have absolutely no care in the world for what's legal or illegal. And again, they're basically going to take everything that they see as theirs, rightfully, whether it's going to be taken by force, whether it's going to be taken by guns, bombs, or otherwise, they're going to end up taking it. And that's exactly what we've seen undertaken, and something that we need to continuously highlight. And this is, again, posted by CNN here, and just a quick clip depicting the aggression and kind of the chaos in and around these different areas that we've seen here. Check this out.
Rifles aimed directly at us. Israeli soldiers order us to the ground. Producer Abir Salman identifies us as journalists before translating the soldiers' commands.
Sit down, sit down, sit down.
So the soldiers just immediately came up and started pointing their weapons directly at us, telling everyone to sit down immediately. Obviously, we're not posing any threat here.
The commander comes straight for our camera, and within seconds, a soldier has just put photojournalist Cyril Theophilus in a chokehold, forcing him to the ground.
Don't touch him like that. Don't touch him like that. Give me my phone.
The soldier who assaulted Theophilus continues to demand he turn off his camera before another smacks my phone. We've come to the West Bank village of Taysir.
And again, this is treatment of journalists. This is treatment of what is clearly media figures in the area. So one can only assume, one can only kind of, expect what the Palestinians in the areas would be getting as far as treatment.
Israeli settlers have established an outpost considered illegal even under Israeli law. And yet here, the soldiers stand idly by.
So an illegal outpost, right? An illegal outpost by their own fucking government's law, and they're being protected by the IDF while they go in and they harass and they try to kick these people off of their fucking lands and out of their homes in the areas that they're not allowed to do so. But again, the military is helping them do so while running off the journalists, running off the fucking media that's covering this shit, right? To make sure that the world knows about what's going on, even though that they're not supposed to fucking be there, the settlers themselves, but they're getting protection by the military, protection by the IDF that wants to see this land, kind of taken over by Israel, wants to see it fucking taken over by these settlers. And it goes on here because they throw them in the car, and then some of the quiet part out loud starts to come out.
Soldiers detain us too and walk us back to our vehicle. They say they're trying to establish order between settlers and Palestinians. But as the cameras keep rolling, it becomes clear these soldiers are here in service of the settler movement.
He says the land is ours. So the guy responds, the whole West Bank, all of the West Bank is yours? And he says, of course. The soldier says, of course. For the Jews.
In Taysir, settlers took the land at the expense of 75-year-old Abdullah Darahme. His breathing is labored, his face bloodied, bruised, and swollen, bones broken. His family and multiple eyewitnesses say the settlers stormed into his home in the middle of the night and beat him to a pulp.
Again, we played this clip, we played that news report on the show, and it goes on here because here's another one that I had pulled up. Here's another report. This one is on Instagram, detailing the young settlers that are now just kind of harassing, living outside of these different Palestinian homes in order to harass them to the point of leaving or beating them or throwing rocks, whatever it may be, at them. And again, in a spot where they're not allowed to be, but they have the ability to call the military, to call the police to get these other people out of there while remaining there themselves. So here's just another quick video to kind of detail what's going on, because like I said, I referenced this a couple shows ago, and I wanted to make sure that I found the videos that I was referencing for you guys.
מה אתה רוצה בארץ הזה? הארץ שלי, הארץ המובטחת.
So this is my land. This is the promised land. And then the guy asking the questions behind the screen says, then what? You want a genocide? And listen to the answer. He says, I want them to fuck off. I don't care how. Right. And again, this is sentiment that is now being kind of relayed and portrayed by an ever growing population. And again, I know it's a difficult and a slippery slope to go down, but at this point, the distinction between the government of Israel, the actions of the IDF and Netanyahu's leadership himself, and again, the popularity it has, and again, the genocidal rhetoric that you could pull up fucking ample videos, millions, thousands and thousands of videos to suggest that the people also that are now behind what's going on don't care, don't have a flying care in the fucking world about humans, about what happens to the Palestinian people. I mean, again, the amount of genocidal fucking rhetoric, the amount of fucking videos coming out from people that now follow and continuously want to see what Benjamin Netanyahu and Smotrich and Ben Gvir are up to is fucking sickening, right? Is absolutely fucking sickening, considering what we know about history, considering what we know about the plight of the people that are now currently involved. And it's fucking disgusting. It really fucking is. And again, it has the tendency to fucking radicalize people when you see so many of these videos from so many people that are willing to go along and see the genocide and are happy about it and are actively calling for the death of men, women, and children all over the fucking place, the eradication of a human race, the eradication of this fucking race in totality. Like, it only can do one thing. It can only do one thing, and that's radicalize and piss you the fuck off, right? It is absolutely fucking disgusting. So again, the fact that this shit goes on, the fact that we continue to see the expansion into Lebanon, like this goes on.
I don't know if the settlers are running out of adults, but wherever I go now, I see baby settlers. This one seems to be like 11 or 12, I don't know how old children are. Anyway, these are all Palestinian houses, of course, and they sat in the couches there, and now they're here, and they're trying to stir shit up and to create a provocation, and now they're calling the police on us, saying that this is a closed military zone, which would, of course, mean that they're also not allowed to be here. But they seem to be quite happy sitting on the rocks inside the Palestinian village.
And again, this is just one instance, one example of again, thousands that you could point to. And again, the reporting that we did on the other show of like the mass attack that we saw, again, the incursions into Lebanon that are ever increasing that you could turn to. It's a sickening display of fucking inhumanity, I gotta say. And again, goes to really fucking show you exactly why we need to cut off all funding. We need to cut off all fucking arms sales and trade and everything going to Israel to make sure that our fucking, our guns and our weapons aren't being used to commit this fucking genocide or to go on to continue to commit the genocide that continues to be perpetrated, wherever they fucking lay their feet, wherever they fucking go. It's crazy. It really is. But again, let's see if we can go into this story real quick to kind of just change gears. How did that get on the screen? That's not the one I showed. This one right here. And again, we don't have to dive into too much of this. We really don't even have to kind of take a look at much of it. But this is the story that, again, is going to cause the right wing to freak the hell out. And you can be guaranteed that it's already started. And again, this is the reporting that the defense, as far as Robinson's defense in the Charlie Kirk assassination, has basically reported that the ATF was unable to match the bullets up to the rifle that was found allegedly by Robinson there. So what's going on is now the right is freaking out. Candace Owens has more kind of, more to work with, so to speak, as far as furthering her conspiracy theories, furthering her, rhetoric and kind of the videos that she's been making as far as against the FBI's investigation and going against, kind of the bullshit and the things that don't make sense as far as that's concerned. Alex Jones is already kind of hopping on this train. So again, this is going to be stirring up the dust. This is going to be kicking up the dust again as far as Charlie Kirk's assassination is concerned. Again, not that ever went away, but this is, again, bringing it basically to the foreground again. But again, this is Tim Pool saying Bullitt and Kirk assassination does not match, says court filing. And basically, this is him trying to, kind of explain to his audience that basically you don't know if what this means. This could just be some wild statement made by the defense. So again, he tries his best to kind of propagandize this, but you can be sure that we're going to be seeing an ample amount of videos coming out, whether it's from like Nate at Valhalla. We used to watch a bunch of his shows. I haven't seen a video of his in a while, actually. So again, I'll probably suspect to see one of his. I'm sure Candace Owens, if she hasn't already, is going to be making a video on this subject, on this topic. And like I said, as far as, let me see if I can get the headline here. I think this is Daily Mail. Yeah, right here. So, bullet used to kill Charlie Kirk, not match rifle allegedly used by suspect Tyler Robinson. New court filing claims the bullet that killed conservative commentator Charlie Kirk did not match the rifle used by suspected killer Tyler Robinson, a bombshell new court filing states. Which again would be, I think, a huge piece of news. There are a few people that I've seen reported to suggest that, like, it's not like completely out of the question for that to happen. Sometimes there aren't the correct, striations, the correct markings left on the bullet. But you would have to suspect that, a 30-06, a rifle like that would probably leave distinctive markings, considering it was supposed to be, one of his grandfather's weapons. It wasn't broken down. It wasn't a long period of time, in between, the time the shot was fired and the time they supposedly recovered not only the bullet, but the weapon. So again, this goes in right in line, and you can add this to the list of shit that doesn't make sense as far as the assassination or the investigation of Charlie Kirk, or the information that has come out since then. A lot of people had questions right off the bat as far as timeline, as far as video, as far as what clothing was being worn, as far as what was being talked about online. Almost every aspect of this has been questioned. Not only that, but pairing this up with the background footage from the camera behind Charlie Kirk that has come out. Not only that, but there has been more speculation about the lavalier mic, the lapel mic that Charlie Kirk was wearing at the time. There's been some zoomed in footage that kind of speculates as to the fluttering of the shirt beforehand, the direction of the projectile, and of course the exit wound that everybody clearly kind of recognized as being an exit wound, or suspected, I should say, alleged to be an exit wound, by the way that it looked and by the way that the body reacted, without getting too detailed or gory for you. But again, some of that seems to kind of line up. Whether or not that is what we're looking at, again, only fucking the Lord only knows at this fucking point. Nobody knows, considering the lackluster investigation, the nonsense and the rhetoric coming out from Kash Patel, the bullshit we know coming from him and his leadership at the FBI. There's just no way you can trust anything, I believe, in what's being told to you by the FBI, by Kash Patel, by these idiots that again have botched every single fucking aspect of this investigation. All right. What time we got? Shit. Fuck. I ran out of time already. All right. What do you say we just dive into these next two videos real quick? They won't be long. They're only really quick. We're just going to dive into some of the Frontline updates, if you'll allow me. Probably just a couple minutes of both videos, and then we'll get into thanking some people. I'll get you guys out of here, but I want to make sure that we're detailing kind of the aspects that may have been missed over the last couple of days, obviously with the need and necessity of diving into the bullshit going in and surrounding the war in Iran. A lot has still been taking place behind the scenes, without it kind of being highlighted inside of Ukraine. Obviously, the successes of Ukraine hitting the Russian ports as well. So I should be able to fit this in probably just a few minutes. So it shouldn't take long. And again, this is Georgi from Ukraine Matters. With the Russia's spring offensive crumbles in real time. I think the 24-hour numbers by the Russians was under 1,000. I want to say it was somewhere in the 900 region. If I'm not mistaken. So that might, again, show or, detail a slowing down of the offensives that they were trying to kick off earlier in the week, or about a little over a week ago. So again, that's substantially less, about half of the, nearly 1,800 that we saw roughly a week ago as far as Russians taking off the battlefield. So again, let's see if we can get some insight as to maybe why that was taking place. Here's, again, Georgi from Ukraine Matters. Let's see if we can dive into it. Appreciate you guys.
Regain some of the.
What I should do is probably start it from the beginning. That would be great. Seems like it's been playing behind the scenes the whole show. All right, here we go.
Hey there, Georgie here with Ukraine Matters. It's been over 2 weeks since Russia started their spring-summer offensive campaign, which was supposed to be massive. And well, so far it's been a massive dud. Russia has not achieved nearly any kind of the goals that they would want to. And for the fun today, I will tell you from time to time how the Russian propagandists are showing this map, because I spent a bit of time looking at the maps that the pro-Russian bloggers are sharing. And well, let's just say the only thing that is real on those maps is the departure from reality. But
and again, as far as we've been talking about the the offensives that they were trying to undertake, and again the disastrous nature, the disastrous ending of those, that could be again another reason as to why we're seeing kind of the downturn in the amount of Russian soldiers killed or wounded taken off the battlefield, at least in the last 24 hours. I think they might be trying to rethink that strategy, considering how disastrously poor it went to begin with, and right off the bat too, no successes really to speak of. As Yorgi was just talking about, the Russian vloggers really forced to propaganda and forced into having to basically lie outright about anything that was undertaken. God, that is ridiculous as far as the vertical view is concerned. I hate, like I said, I feel bad. Let's do it that way. I feel bad covering their faces, because they put a lot of time and energy into making these videos, and I feel bad that I cover their faces, but that's just where the layouts are. All right, we'll get back into another minute of this, and then we'll dive into this. The last one here is by The Sun, and again, just kind of gives us a little update again about more of the frontline actions, and then I'll get you guys out of here. We'll thank some people and let you guys get on with your day. Appreciate you. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, and Substack. I really do appreciate all of you guys. So, all right, hit that like button. Oh, it'd be great if I put this back on.
The north around Vovchansk. As you remember, at some point ago, there was some Russian activity here, kind of south of Vovchansk. And at the time, I said that it would be just push-pull, that it would be Ukrainians, Russians changing hands. And it is still indeed the case. It's just that in the last week, we got additional new videos showing that Russians are trying to attack, but then we showed that Ukrainians were trying to push towards Vovchansk. So the long story short, situation around the north of Vovchansk right now is more or less stable. A notable thing that has been shown beforehand is that Russia has intensified fires alongside the border of Ukraine.
And again, it probably is. I mean, it is worth mentioning that, Russia has still been lobbing drones and missiles into Ukraine. I think the other night was roughly about 1,000 shot into there. One of the biggest strikes, one of the biggest launches of the war so far. So again, as the Ukrainians are actively targeting the ports and the oil trade of the Russians, we still have to obviously and unfortunately keep reporting on the fact that Russia continues its strikes on civilian infrastructure in different cities around Ukraine as well. So to keep everybody kind of on a level playing field, to keep everybody based in reality. I know we've been reporting on the successes of the Ukrainian military, rightfully so and proudly so, but we also have to recognize that there are still definite plights to be seen, definitely some things to be overcome, obviously, and definitely a lot of work ahead of us as far as this is concerned. So again, not to get everybody kind of ahead of their skis, so to speak, but just to keep everybody based in reality.
If it's going to mean anything, but there's definitely some activity across the border from the Russians. So far with firings, some diversion groups, but generally speaking, nothing concrete so far. Kupiansk, we saw a big report this week from the Yuri Butusev, who is the commander of the, not the FPV, but the drone battalion inside of Khartia Corps, who is working on this direction. And he was surprisingly very optimistic. If you don't know the guy, he's extremely critical of everything that is happening in Ukraine. He always looks for how do you spy the current administration, and how do always because he intends well, but he's always looking at that negative to always point out. And when I was watching his overview of the situation, I was actually shocked in just how much positive he had to say about the improvements within the Ukrainian military. And he stated that
again, well, they have a lot to, again, to be kind of happy about. Well, not happy about, but a lot to be kind of thankful for. I don't know what you'd kind of put it. A lot to look forward to as far as the successes that they've been able to see. And obviously, the blackout of communication on the Russian front lines has thrown them into chaos. The successes that they've seen recently, the amount of territory that they've been able to kind of take back, the amount of the kill ratio that they've been able to kind of ramp up a little bit in certain aspects. Obviously, the successes that the Ukrainians have had in firing into Russia and mitigating the ability and the benefits they've had as far as exporting Russian oil to make more money. So again, there are little things to kind of be hopeful for. While also being kind of grounded in the front. I know I was kind of struggling to pick up the right adjective to describe that one. I don't think I landed on it, but I think you guys get the sentiment. Like there's a lot for them to kind of be, instead of not be down about, to be kind of hopeful for going into the spring and summer offensive seasons. As opposed to kind of, different areas and different times of the war when we've kind of, been coming into spring and summer, not in such a circumstance where it's beneficial and looking better for the Ukrainian military, if you know what I'm saying.
The successful Ukrainian operations right now, there is just one position of Russians left in the whole
city. I
city.
gotta watch that too, Karen. Not to kind of get off topic, but that's the one with Russell Crowe you're talking about. For some reason, strangely enough, as deeply involved as I am in the World War II movies, I still haven't had the chance to check that one out. Has anybody in the chat seen it? Worth watching? Sometimes I have kind of trouble watching the kind of lower budget ones where it's just not very well done, and you can tell like the actor that they've kind of hired to portray Hitler or Goering or anybody. It's like it's not even close, and it's tough to kind of get into the flow of the story. So. Sorry, I know it's kind of get off track, but I saw that go by in the chat. Victor says, yes, it's great. Tiff says she hasn't watched it yet. Karen says, yes. All right, I'll have to check that out. There's been a few times I know people have been telling me to check it out, so I'll see if I can do that. All right, so just for the sake of time, let's dive onto this last video here, just to kind of talk about maybe to a little bit of more degree the frontline actions that have been taken out. This is by The Sun, Battle Plans Exposed, and if you remember, this is the same gentleman that we were just kind of calling out for his take on the Iran war. So again, take everything with a grain of salt. I feel like he's kind of up to speed and up to date and knowledgeable on what's taking place here, but again, kind of utilizing more of the American propaganda to kind of gauge where the Iran war is at, or where the kind of the benefit or the goals might lie with the United States military. But again, this is just probably a minute or two of this to see if we can get any kind of updates on what may have been taken back as far as territory by the Ukrainians, or again, just any updates as far as the front lines. And then we'll get into thanking some people. I know I'm over. I apologize. I hate trying to fly through some of these clips, but again, there's so much to try to cover. There's so many news clips and so much to talk about that it's almost impossible to try to cram it into a 2-hour show. We might have to extend the show at some point, considering the amount of news that comes in every single day. So, we'll see what happens there. But again, this is from The Sun, Battle Plans Exposed. Let's see if we can just dive into, looks like he's talking about more of the Konstantinivka, Kromorsk, Sloviansk, Liman, and Bakhmut areas, more specifically above and beyond what Yorgi was just speaking about. So a little bit of a different area for these updates.
This is the ultimate prize in the east of Ukraine. Putin calls this the best tank in the world. It's not. This is a sign that Russia is on the brink of tactical collapse.
Get back to this.
Putin doesn't care about the losses of manpower. Walk forward until you get killed and be replaced by someone else walking forward until they get killed. And that's
Walk forward until you get killed so that you can be replaced by somebody else who's going to walk forward until they get killed. Like, if that doesn't accurately and appropriately describe the Russian meat grinder, the Russian war machine, and how they look at and view kind of their infantry, and how they're utilized in this, like, that's perfectly said. Like, just continue. Here's a shit weapon. Here's shit training. Here's shit fucking clothing and shit gear. Walk forward until you either hit a mine, until a fucking drone blows up, until we can know that they're in the area, and then we'll send somebody in after you, and they can walk until they get blown up, and we'll just continuously repeat this pattern, and hopefully we don't run out of people before the end of this. So again, I mean, it's a brutal way to think about it, but that's exactly how the Russian soldiers are utilized and used on the front lines. They're just fucking, it's just they're a resource to be expelled, right? They're a resource to be utilized and to be removed so that they could add more people to do that, so they can inevitably grind and wear down the enemy. But the losses, as far as, just think about, here's a good a way to look at it. Like, just think about the uproar. Just think about the fucking outrage in the United States over 13 U.S. service members that have been killed, right? Over 300 wounded, 13 dead. Just think about the outrage and how much fucking pressure that has already put on this administration, this regime, whether or not they react to it or feel it in a real way. That doesn't mean that it's not there, right? Like, you can see that the way that even Fox News and the way that these other channels that normally propagandize all this bullshit, and the way that they're having to tiptoe around it and recognize how dangerous this is and how much of a price we've already paid, right? When you continuously hear that shit, but then you hear Donald Trump talk about, maybe like we're going to be sending in, this amount of troops, and we're talking about the 82nd and the Marines. You can tell kind of where he's getting the ideas from. As far as the meat grinder and sending people in for absolutely no reason. But you can see also the outrage by the United States, right? And how much people have reacted just to the 13, servicemen and women that have lost their lives needlessly because of Donald Trump's war. Try to put over now think about the Russians, right? Now just think about the Russian losses and how many people they have lost, how many soldiers they have lost. And you can see the discrepancy. You can see the difference in the way that, Russia thinks about their troops, and Russia thinks about the losses and how they look at war, and the way that the United States would be able to react to or limit to or deal with, again, this amount of destruction and death and waste, on this massive scale that the Russians have seen. So, you can see that we're not fighting on the same plane. Like the way that we think about these things are not the same. And the fact that they're willing to put up with such fucking destruction of their youngest, the youngest generations of their fucking people to go that they've sent in this war, just goes to show you that, this is not something that, just the body count alone is going to get us out of. There's going to have to be something else. There's going to have to be some other way, or this is going to have to continue for a long enough period of time for that number to creep up to a point where even the Russians start to get a little, where they start to blush and where they start to get a little aggravated, right?
What the Russians do. Events are happening in Ukraine. I'm Philip Ingram, and this is Battle Plans Exposed. Vladimir Putin has launched Russia's long-awaited spring offensive, resulting in the deadliest 36 hours for Russian troops since the start of this war. We're seeing signals that Ukraine's long-term strategic gambles are finally coming to fruition. Record numbers of Ukrainian drones are striking deep into the Russian heartland, while in the skies, the VKS is hitting a wall. The Russian aviation maintenance is in dire straits. They simply cannot keep their airframes in the air. We'll analyze all of this and more, but first, let's take a look at the clips from the Frontline.
So again, we'll just go into a couple of these clips and I'll get you guys out of here. We'll start thanking people on Venmo, on YouTube, and then I'll make sure that you guys can get on here and enjoy some other great creators and some other fantastic people, or just the rest of your day doing whatever is important to you. So just kind of a couple clips from the front lines here. As you can just hear, as he just was talking about, though, the fact that, the Russian Air Force and the kind of the air crews are struggling mightily to keep these fucking planes, drones, and other things in the air that they need, just goes to show another aspect and how this, this prolonged war is having an effect on them. Obviously, we talked about the other day that Ukraine has managed to affect some 40% of the Russian exports, the oil exports, or their ability to export the oil, again, so they can suck it out of the ground at whatever rate they want to. But if they can't get it onto the ships, if they can't sell it to different fucking countries because Ukraine is continuously hitting these ports, then again, that's going to have a huge impact. Again, I think it was about 40%, as we saw reported the other day by one of these videos as well. So just another couple of these clips and we'll get you out of here, guys. I know, I'm sorry.
Pip, we've got a Russian Ka-52 attack helicopter which was hit by an FPV drone. The Russian Ka-52, or the Alligator, is supposedly one of the most advanced attack helicopters on the planet. It's worth roughly $16 million. And intelligence suggests that the Baltica crew from the 59th Separate Assault Brigade used a fiber optic guided drone. Pilots' precision strikes on the munitions.
And this is exactly what we're looking for. Exactly what we're looking for. Really expensive equipment. Really expensive equipment. Fucking, taken out by, FPV drones, or taken out by, where the hell am I? Why can't I get onto the screen? It won't let me back on. It won't let me back onto the screen. Anyway, can you hear me? For Christ's sakes, I don't understand. Hello? It's not letting me back on the screen. But what I'm talking about is the fact that you can take out consistently these really expensive platforms, these really expensive, whether it be, there it is. There I am. Holy shit. I don't know what just happened. Freaking out. But these really expensive weapons platforms, these really expensive planes and helicopters with these cheap FPV drones, with these these fiber optic drones, so to continuously be able to do that is going to be a huge advantage for the Ukrainians, as we've seen them bump up their drone activity, as we've seen them kind of perfect their drone skills as this war continues to go on. But again, let me see if this, I don't know if I can even put this back on. For some reason, StreamYard's having a heart attack right now. I might have to let you guys go. Yeah, I will. I won't. StreamYard's kind of having a freak out. Yeah, no, it's doing everything, but it's doing it 10 minutes after I ask it to. So let's get into thanking some people. I know I'm over anyway, so I won't take up too much more of your time. Let's see if we can get into thanking some people on Venmo while that tries to figure out how to put me back on the screen. Full screen. Full screen. Thank you. Jesus Christ. All right, let's get into thanking some people. I appreciate you guys. At least it waited to the end of the show, right? At least it waited till I was overtime. But all right, let's go. Thanking some people from the last couple days. Thank you, everybody who was kind enough and generous enough to shout out on Venmo. Again, all we ask for is $1 or $2, guys. Anything above and beyond that is totally 100% up to you, depending on your financial capabilities. I know we're in a very, very uneasy time right now, a very unpredictable time. So I'm right there with you. Believe me, if you don't have the financial capabilities or ability to donate, then just share the show out, like, subscribe, leave a comment. That stuff all goes to help the algorithm. But for everybody over the last couple days, whether it was Jenny Faye, Raja, Claudia, thank you so much to Yakov. Thank you to Thomas. Thank you to Garrett, Peter, Candy, Thomas. Thank you so much. Tom, the altar boy, my brother, Tanya. Thank you so much to Jeffrey again, Andrea, Maria, Raja again, Allison, Michelle, everybody over the last week or so that's been generous enough to contribute and donate either via Venmo or someplace else. I really do appreciate you guys. Let's see if we can thank, and let's see if it'll allow me to look at the old Venmo activity, the old YouTube activity over here. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, YouTube's having a heart attack right now. But thank you so much to Carol. Got to be loving Christy Noem's husband's internet photos. I do not find them attractive myself. Yeah, I apologize for not having the time to get into Kirsty Noem's cross-dressing husband today. But again, I feel like there was a lot of important stuff to talk about, a lot of important things to go over. And that that not being one of them, but I appreciate the humor. I appreciate you guys referencing it. Thank you, Carol, for the $5. Thank you so much to Brian as well. Another $5 for beverage or anything else. Hope all is well. Pico's Brian and damn straight. I know why. Also just finished replacing the gas line. Buddy, ouch. Damn, brother. That sucks. I'm sorry about that. I'm sure that hopefully the ground wasn't too hard for you to dig on that one. But I appreciate the $5, my friend. Thank you so much for the contribution. Salute to you. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope it gets a little easier for you, my dude. Thank you so much to Colleen for the 20. Really do appreciate you, Colleen, and everything that you do here. It's very, very much appreciated. Very valued member of this community. So thank you, Colleen. Hope you're having a good day. Thank you to Chia Pet. What's up, Chia Pet? Great name, by the way. Thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. Shout out to you. Really, really goes a long way in helping and showing YouTube that you guys are not only active but engaged and willing to, being a member of the community. So thank you so much to Chia Pet. Thank you so much to AMZ. What's up, AMZ, for becoming new YouTube members? I love seeing new members. So thank you to you guys for signing up as new YouTube members. It goes a long way in showing other people where they can sign up as well. So thank you to Jennifer. Brian said, I don't know what it is. I'm a grown man. Yeah, I don't know what a fucking bubble scepter is. I don't know what
the left-hand side of the helicopter, it triggered
one of the prouder moments of my life right there was not knowing what the fuck Lindsay Graham was just carrying. Not a clue. But I appreciate you, Jennifer, for noticing. Thank you so much. And then Victor to round it out today. Thank you so much, Vic. Appreciate you, brother. Have a great day, Brian, and everybody here. I shall pass that right along, guys. So thank you for everything that you guys do. Like I said, I know we're in really unstable situation right now. We're in really precarious positions. But thank you to everybody that's taking the time out, taking the risk, and supporting the show, whether it be with a piece of merch, which again, just to kind of do a little bit of housekeeping at the end of the show. Again, anybody that gets any of the Ukraine merch will also be contributing directly to United 24 as we were before. Again, we try to involve and get involved any way we possibly can to give back, whether that's through merch or fundraisers. Again, we're going to be trying to start up another NAFO campaign as soon as we get the truck delivered and you guys get the video response and you guys get the shout out and everything. I'd love to start seeing some patches too. Anybody that donated to the crew, anybody that donated to the campaign and got a patch, if you receive your patch, make sure you take a picture. Same thing with the merch. If you guys receive the merch, send in a picture with you guys wearing the merch, and we'll see if we can put it on either the exit video or see if we can put it on the website. You guys could be the models for the merch yourselves. Again, tag me in a post if you get any of the merch or anything. We'll be sure to repost it and all the good stuff. Again, you guys can let us know if you want to let us use it for it. Different like I said, the exit video or the website. Just let us know, and if not, make sure you let us know that you don't want us to use it as well. So appreciate you guys and everybody doing that. And again, make sure you guys stay tuned tomorrow night. Make sure you guys are coming back and checking out not only the afternoon show 1 p.m. tomorrow, but also tomorrow night we're going to be having a great discussion with Jake Bro. Jake Bro does a fantastic job of covering the brutal Russian invasion of Ukraine and the ongoing campaigns that he is responsible for. I'm excited to talk about. Again, just finished a $1 million campaign. Just blows my mind every time. I was struggling and losing sleep over trying to raise 23,000 euros. So imagine trying to make a $1 million campaign, and I think he did it in, again, less than a week. I think it's less than 2 weeks for sure, which is just a remarkable fucking feat. It's just crazy to see the community continuously come together, whether that's here at Blunt Politics or again Jake's community or again the integration of all of the communities together. It's a really cool moment to see, and a really cool thing to see that everybody's still coming together at a time of need. So, all right, I appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow for the doubleheader. That's again 1 p.m. tomorrow here. Blunt Politics also simulcast on this space. Shout out to Matt over there on this space. Shout out to the mods over there as well. And then tomorrow night, we got the full show. Tomorrow afternoon being a 1 hour show. Tomorrow night show being a 2 hour show. First hour is going to be with Jake, and then we're going to get into all of the craziness, the nonsense, and the debauchery that has been taking place otherwise. So thank you so much to all the mods. Oh, thank you, Shockey. I see you in there. What's going on? Appreciate you. Appreciate all the people. You know who you are. Thank you so much, Shockey. Thank you, guys. I appreciate everybody watching from across the pond. Everybody also here in the United States. Leave me a comment on the video when it posts. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what you want to see changed. Let me know what you want to work on. Let me know what you love. Let me know what you hate. I appreciate you guys. Stay loud, stay proud, stay aggressive, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the old double header. All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate everybody donating. Appreciate everybody contributing. Sign up at patreon.com/BostonBrian. Again, we're going through all new perks, all revamp of the Patreon. So make sure you sign up now before we get into all of the updated, like I said, perks and new Zooms that we're going to be doing, all of the new updates and different discounts that you get on the merch site as well. And if not, sign up for a YouTube membership just below me. That's all you got to do. It's easy. Just got to blow me down there. It's $2.99 for a YouTube membership just below me. Underneath me should be a button down here somewhere that you could hit. And again, for less than a gallon of gas, you could have a YouTube membership. And again, yes, I'm kidding. The chat gets a kick out of it when I say it that way. But all right, I appreciate you guys. Not to end it on a naughty note. All right, I'm out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you to the mods. Appreciate you guys. Thank you to Pops, as always. Much appreciated. And thank you to the best chat on earth. Thank you to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Substack. Appreciate you. Again, no charge for any of the Substacks. No content hidden behind a paywall. No charge whatsoever for anything that we find to be vastly important for you guys to be able to see. So let's see if we can contribute here to the show. Let's see if we can get involved and join up the right way. Let's see if we can make this somewhat of a profitable venture at some point. All right, I'm out of here. Appreciate it, guys. Let's go. Get the merch. Thanks, guys. I'm out of here. I said it. I know. I'm looking for the button. I'm stalling. All right, peace. I know, Jeff. I know, that was the joke. But, funny enough, I didn't realize that to begin with until the chat told me. So we kind of referenced going back to that. see here. Let me see here real quick. See if we can throw this on. I saw this go by. I think somebody. The goddamn mute button. No, it's muting me every time. I just want to throw this on the screen real quick. Let me get out of this one. Let me see if I can do this one. Throw this on the screen for you guys. Put this up. Put this back up. All right. Judge Halt's White House ballroom construction project. I saw you guys talking about that, so I just wanted to come on and just kind of do a little ditty. A federal judge on Tuesday halted construction on Trump's White House ballroom project. U.S. District Judge Richard Leon said that no statute comes close to granting Trump the authority he claims he has to execute the $400 million project, barring construction from continuing until Congress authorizes the completion. So we can await Donald Trump's immediate freak out on Truth Social upcoming. So I'm sure whatever show you guys watch coming up in the afternoon or later on tonight, we'll probably have that to come. But at least a little bit of good news, people stepping up where they should step up. Whether or not he's going to heed those warnings and follow what the judge says is obviously a different animal altogether. But again, I just saw that go by in the chat. And again, I think Andrea texted me. My apologies if I missed that one about the judges here, the judge's request here, or the judge's order, I should say, in the halting of the ballroom construction. Again, Donald Trump's fucking renderings are going to have to be the only thing he's going to be looking at for a while, apparently. But we'll see what's to come from that. But I wanted to make sure I brought that up and showed you guys. All right, let's get you guys out of here so you can thank and watch some other people. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, good to see that Trump's at least seeing some roadblocks thrown in front of him, at least in that regard. I would like to see some judges step up as far as the war in Iran and as far as making Congress act as far as that's concerned. But again, we'll take the little victories where we can get them. So, all right, I'm out of here. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you twice tomorrow for the doubleheader. Don't forget it, twice on Wednesday. We're going to see you in the afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow night. All right, thanks, guys. I'm out.
Somebody said, is that a Trump statement or is that real? God bless the United States. For minors, do we love minors? I love minors. To officially name the undisputed. When did this come out? Here's a thought: grow a sack, fill it with some balls. We're inviting Americans from all across the country to come. I have a group of Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that gun very well.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
They're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated?
Call them dumps. Big, massive dumps.
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
What uranium is, right? This thing called nuclear weapons and other things. Like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things.
The big, fat, sloppy